We glide, neon pulse in the midnight air, wires hum like they know you're there, echoes ride through the circuit tide, we drift, we move, electrified.
Stamford Bridge where legends play, the Blues march on day by day. From the academy's nurturing hands to the roaring crowds in distant lands, Chelsea Sessions brings the game to life, with training clips and match insights so rife. We dive deep into every play, where the Blues make history every day. Oh Chelsea, our hearts beat true, in victory and defeat we stand by you. From the men's fierce fight to the women's grace, together we conquer in every place. Through the highs and the lows we've seen, your spirit remains evergreen. With every pass and every goal, you ignite the passion in our soul. On Chelsea Sessions we get to know the tactics and the players that steal the show. We analyze and cheer with pride for every Blue that's side by side. Oh Chelsea, our hearts beat true, in victory and defeat we stand by you. From the men's fierce fight to the women's grace, together we conquer in every place. From the youth's first steps to the seasoned pros, your legacy eternally grows. On Chelsea Sessions we break it down, following every dribble, pass and crown. Oh Chelsea, our hearts beat true, in victory and defeat we stand by you. From the men's fierce fighting to the women's grace, together we conquer in every place. So here's to Chelsea, both now and then. We'll follow you forever through thick and thin. With Chelsea Sessions we grow as one to 100K. Let's get it done. So here's to Chelsea, both now and then. We'll follow you forever through thick and thin. With Chelsea Sessions we grow as one to 100K. Let's get it done. Oh Chelsea, our hearts beat true, in victory and defeat we stand by you, by you. From the men's fierce fight to the women's grace, women's grace, Together we conquer in every place. So here's to Chelsea, both now and then. We'll follow you forever through thick and thin. With Chelsea sessions, we grow as one to 100K. Let's get it done.
Wow, 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 wow. Welcome everyone to this live match reaction. This was supposed to be a live match reaction for Crystal Palace versus Chelsea, but after what I just saw I saw recently or not long ago in the Arsenal versus Manchester United match, I don't know if I can really just speak about Crystal Palace versus Chelsea because that was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. This is what football is all about. Can you imagine from a mistake, an own goal, as they say, for Arsenal to get the opening goal of the game, to them conceding a goal from a mistake by who made a mistake again? I'm trying to remember who made a mistake. Who made a mistake? Zubimendi. Zubimendi made a mistake giving Manchester United that goal. Ebuemu calmly composed, just puts it beyond Raya, and boom, it's 1-1. But that's not where it ends. You know, they're going to have time, it's 1-1 and all of that. But the second half, not long into the second half, around 10 minutes or so into the second half, Dorgu, after a beautiful build-up by Manchester United, are able to just get beyond Arsenal. And Dorgu just shoots, and it's a beautiful strike, hits the crossbar and goes in. But it wasn't gonna end there. Definitely not. Not when you have Arsenal versus Manchester United. It's not gonna end there. Because what we see is something that I find so incredible. We see Arsenal, of course, and a lot of people may have said, okay, Arsenal have scored como said piece now. Okay, this looks like they're gonna win it. No. So they score in the 84th minute, but Manchester United say, you know what, we're going to score in the 87th minute. Let's give you like 2 minutes or so to believe that you've actually had a chance here. And then boom, they score 3-2. Beautiful curled effort from a substitute in Matheus Cunha. Very tremendous strike. Very good football. And I don't know, we can say it's manager bones, but I mean, manager bones or not, it's beautiful football. It reminds me of what Oli did at Manchester United a couple years ago when he just joined as well. But Manchester United have caused an upset. And I had this conversation with many people yesterday, even today, that I believe that that Manchester United would allow Arsenal to drop some points. I didn't say that they would win. A part of me had that feeling that they might win, but of course I said Arsenal would drop points. And they dropped points for sure, but they've also got no points from this match. So that is the key thing. But anyways, just wanted to give that little reaction of match that I said, let me watch it because it will be interesting. And Manchester United winning is not necessarily a good thing in terms of a Chelsea perspective because, of course, with Chelsea winning 3-1 or Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 3, with that result being the case now where Manchester United ended up getting the win, it means that Chelsea now dropped to 5th. And that's not good for Chelsea. So from a Chelsea fan perspective, I'm disappointed that Manchester United won. But as a football fan, man, that I love that. I loved what I saw because as much as it was manageable, it was also very enticing. It was also drama filled. It was just beautiful to see the deep lying, very low block sort of structure by Manchester United, allowing Arsenal to come at them and having the belief, the confidence that they would be able to handle it. And we saw that. Harry Maguire, for example, making some key blocks, making some good clearances, Lisandro Martinez, despite having that little error that led to the Arsenal goal, he had a very good game in terms of other aspects. And of course, we saw players like Casemiro. Casemiro is not a player that a lot of Manchester United fans are really fancying right now, or they're not really high on their list, or he's not high on their list. I can't talk. But in terms of that, Chelsea winning this game was fantastic. It's very good. It's another win, 4 wins in 5 games for Liam Rosenio, and it's a good start for Liam Rosenio. He's had four of his 5 matches have been London derbies. Of course, Crystal Palace, a London derby. Of course, we know we had the Brentford, who's in London as well. Then you of course have Arsenal. What other match am I forgetting? Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Brentford. There's another match that I'm forgetting. I don't know which match there is. Anyways, there's Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Brentford. What is it? 4 London derbies or is it 3? I don't. What match am I forgetting? Anyways, we move. Let me go on to football. Let's go through this because I don't intend to do this stream for too long. Just gonna get my thoughts out. I'm doing this today. I wanted to do it later on, but I'm not gonna leave anything to chance. So I'm gonna pounce on the chance to do it now. So let me just share the screen now. Thank you to those who've dropped a like on the stream. I'm imploring you, if you haven't already, to subscribe. It will help the channel massively. And please drop a like. It will push the stream even further. And if you haven't already, as I said, drop a like, share the stream if you haven't. And I'm sure nobody has shared the stream, so share the stream. And of course, join the membership. If you want to see more content that can only be shown on members only section, then you need to join the membership. It's not going to be expensive, so you have no excuse not to become a member. It's very cost effective, and I mean it's very simple. It doesn't take long for you to become a member, so please do so. Now let me go over to this thing. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's not letting me share the screen. Anyways, so this is the okay, cool. Perfect. So this is the situation. So as you guys can see, Estevao William opening the score in the 34th minute in this game. Chelsea would go into halftime with a 1-0 lead. 5 minutes into the second half, João Pedro gets the second goal, another Brazilian, and Estêvão William getting the assist for this goal. And it's beautiful link-up play from João Pedro. He was able to keep the ball, control it well, bring it down perfectly, and did all of that. Okay, that's this. Oh, big. Okay. Oh, you want to join? No problem. How can I send it to you? I don't want to put the link in the chat, but let me do this quickly. So there's a link. If you want to join, you can come on. I believe this is Shanks. Let me know if you want to come on. No, let me know if you want to come on. Let me know when you're about to join, so I can delete the link, because I am very paranoid now after what happened to my channel a couple years ago. Anyways, but there's a link. If you want to join, you can just join there. Okay, let me send the link in this group as well, so that I can see if anybody else wants to join. And we can just go through the results. I don't know what's going on today, man. I've been up very early, and I don't know what I'm saying. I'm talking a bunch of nonsense right now. Talking a bunch of nonsense. Well, I'm gonna send a link in this group here. Let me know when you're about to join, Shang, so I can, know that part. Anyways, so let me go back to the rest of the stats. So, anyways, as I said, João Pedro good link-up play there. All of that's very important. And of course, Enzo Fernández scored in the 64th minute as well from a penalty, handball situation. And Enzo Fernández converts from the spot, 3-0 at the time. Now, 8 minutes later, and it was in quick succession actually. So Wharton got a yellow card about between the two cards that he got, I think it was only about 90 seconds. He got a yellow card for giving away a free kick. And then after the free kick is taken, after the defending, he does a disgraceful, unnecessary tackle, gets a second yellow card, gets sent off. So he's gonna miss one game for Crystal Palace due to it being two yellow cards. Yeah, so that's the case. And of course, Chris Richards ensures that Chelsea and Robert Sanchez don't get a clean sheet, and for the latter part, because they had so many minutes of added time added on, I was really worried about if we're going to bottle the result. But it was only the one goal that Chelsea ended up conceding, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So let's see. Okay. I'm so concerned. All right, so I see that you're backstage. Could you? I know maybe you don't want to reveal your face. You're not gonna. I'm not gonna bring you on. I just want to ensure that, for safety reasons, that it's actually a person. I've had a situation, so you can just turn it on for like a second, and you can just turn it back off immediately after that, just so I can know that it's actually a person backstage. If that's all right. If it's, okay. All right. So big up to you. Can you hear me? Hello. All right. I'm not sure what's going on here. All right. Drop a like on the stream. As I've said, we're at 6 likes, which is not bad considering the amount of people watching right now. But okay. All right. You're unmuted. Big up. What do you have to say about the results?
Big up, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, bro. Okay, man. Thanks for having me on. I just wanted to touch on the performance today. I think it was decent.
Mhm.
We could have done better. There's a lot of issues still we need to address, especially, the typical problems we've been having since the season started, center backs, the midfield, even the wingers, Neto, I've been watching him lately, and he's not the player I thought was gonna be. The Maverick, the Pedro, the William, the Hazard, he's not those kind of wingers. Like, we can't rely on him. Now we have to look at Estevao, a very young kid, and hope he can do something for us, right? But he shouldn't be in this position. He's too young. He's still young. He's too young. He's never been physically strong enough to be like in this position. But overall, I'm very disappointed with Neto. Neto, I've been watching him, and I don't think he's gonna be here too long. In terms of attacking, I don't know how you feel about him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also disappointed. I I don't know, man. It's a strange one with Neto. In terms of under Maresca, for example, and for some aspects, we were able to see that into the defensive aspect, he's really a go-to, because of course, in comparison to Estevão, who offers more, it would be Neto who would be offering a lot more. And I think that in terms of what Neto has been doing overall, it's to me, it's not being good enough. But at the same time, uh, I don't know. I don't see him staying long, and based on the signings that we've made and we have to come in, I believe that right now he's low on the starting block, I would say. But at the same time, you said it was a decent result. I can probably understand why you say that, but I'm happy for the win. And that's all that matters. I mean, considering the situation that Rossinia's come into, and considering how he was just rushed into these matches, I think it really is a positive thing. But with Neto, yeah, he hasn't really been the greatest in the last few games. He looks as if the ball is getting caught under his foot. But I don't want this to be too negative. But I'm not saying you're being negative. But in terms of that, I'm also disappointed in Neto. I still think that considering how many months is left of the season, he could always, have an upturn or really enhance his performance again. But I do understand what you're saying. I don't know what you have to say. I just sent a link in the group, Bobby. Let me send it in the chat so you can join, Bobby. I sent it in the group though. If you have anything else you want to say, Mighty, you can go ahead.
No, I just wanted to just address
Oh, that's lovely.
Neto. I don't want to be too negative because I don't know this fan base, Chelsea fans. they're too negative, and I don't want to be part of that. But I just want to just touch on Neto and just look at him in the future, maybe in the summer or next year. Like, how long will he be here, or can he evolve? Like, can he offer 2 goals a game? Is he a 10-goal a season kind of winger? Is it 15? What's the standard? I've only seen him score 1-2 goals ever, and that was I think the Club World Cup. What team was it? I think it was against LAFC or something. I've never seen him score 2 goals. That was the first time, and I think that was the first time he scored 2 goals in a game in his career. You can probably just fact check me on that, but I don't know. I watch him, and he's always just. It's not really. I feel like we can do better in the transfers. We need something like Estevao, but established. We don't want inexperienced wingers. We need a lot of experience, and then maybe age-wise, he can be 20 plus, not 18, not 17. I think that's obviously the model for these new owners. They want to bring in young kids. But I think maybe just this one time next summer or something like that, bring in just 2 wingers who are very well experienced, physical, fast, can dribble and actually shoot. Like they can actually look up, take a shot. Yeah, that's all I wanted just to talk about. And yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on, and I'm gonna try and come on every now and then.
Yeah, hold up. But I thank you for tuning in. But I want to ask you something though, because I want you to ensure that the audience really understands you. When you say that and I don't want to misquote you, but were you saying that you don't think Estevao is ready, or you saying that? What did you say about Estevao William specifically?
I think yeah, Estevao, I think he's great. He's the perfect. When I look at Estevao, I see it's basically everything a winger should have: creativity, dribbling. He can take on a defender and actually beat the defender, and then he has power in his shots. Every time he takes a shot, he knows how to take a shot. Like, he has that talent, and it's very rare to see a player like him. We have probably Palma, who's on his level, and this is just a young boy. He's only 18, and he's really the only one I can see. Can break that threshold, the Hazard threshold. None of our wingers are on the Hazard level threshold, and he's the only one. Estevao is the only one. So we just need to kind of maybe maintain that benchmark. I think Estevao has it. He's just still very weak. He's not physical enough for the Premier League. But that's really the only negative thing I can say about him. He's just not physical enough. That's because he's still young. So I'm not gonna fault him for that. Maybe 2 years, 3 years from now, if he's still weak and just easily loses the ball or just gets pushed over, then I can say, okay, he needs to really work on it. in terms of Neto, Garnacho, Gittins, I think these guys are just they're not the ones, like they are not the type of wingers that will win us like major trophies. Forget FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I think we can win that with these guys, but to compete for major trophies like the Champions League, the Premier League, these are not the wingers we need, and it's definitely not the depth. Um, because when Gittins comes off, we have Garnacho, and it's basically the same. If it's a number, it's just the same exact number. It's an odd number, it's a 2 with a 2, or they don't have that. The levels don't go any higher. None of them move the needle. I don't know how to put it, but I don't rate them. Honestly, those guys, yeah. And then the defenders, I can talk about the defenders, but that will take hours. I just wanted to just highlight Neto today. He was really poor, very poor. He does cross here and there, but that's really about it with him. In terms of performance, I would probably give it 7 out of 10, maybe 6.5. If you watch how we scored the goals, we pretty much exploited Crystal Palace instead of scoring from open play. Good, really good teams score from open play. They don't really rely on penalties or mistakes by the opposition. But yeah, I think we have a long way to go, very long way to go, and I don't know how Liam is gonna do with the new coach. I don't know how he's gonna handle it. But really, with what I've seen with him, I don't think he's gonna be that Xavi Alonso type coach. His tactics are they're very good. I guess you can say they're good, but you need really, really good players to play the way he wants to play. And I don't think you can do it with inexperienced players, especially young, inexperienced players. But that's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about the whole situation, but I'm sure you have your own conclusions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, you said quite, and this is the one thing, and I've always pride this channel on giving people the chance to give their opinions, and I've always said it. I may not agree with your opinion, but that doesn't mean I can't respect it. I wouldn't say 6. I wouldn't say 6.5. I would say 8 out of 10. I would say the only negative
6.57. Like it's not a good performance.
7. Okay, I can take a 7. Because okay, fine, you can probably look at the conceding of the goal and the fashion in which you conceded. Fair enough, I'll give you that. But I don't know. Neto, as I said, I can understand anything with Neto. Neto really didn't have the greatest performance, and he has really had good performances. But I don't know about the whole thing because I'm trying to see if you said something about Estevao Willian in terms of physicality, or we don't think he's physically ready. That's really what I wanted to really get clarity on, if that's actually what you said, because I don't want to misquote you or perceive it as what is as you saying that. So I just wanted clarity as to if that's what you said. Big up to you, Miss Molina.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What did you say? I lost connection.
Right. So I'm saying because I was wondering if you said that you don't think Estevao Willian is physically ready.
Yes,
I wonder if that's what you said.
He's good in terms of like right now what we're looking at. I think he has it, but it's just like to rely on him, like to say, okay, we'll go, we'll play Arsenal second leg in the Carabao Cup. Like you can't say, okay, he's the one who's gonna lead us. Like the reliance you can't put that on him. And all I'm saying is we need a winger that we can be like, okay, Mama is not performing or he's injured. What do we have? Like, who can we rely on, right? And I don't want to put that pressure on Estevao. He's too young. He can't. I guess I'm sure he can handle it, and he can probably surprise a lot of us. But I think it's too early, and he will not. Maybe the expectation will probably be too much, and we just need to basically find a substitute or a second winger, like a maverick. Someone we can just like a Reece James. You know how we always rely on Reece James defensively. He's always good. We need something. We need somebody like that offensively on the wing, and I don't think Neto is the guy. Maybe he was for some people. Maybe he is
Mm.
for you. For me, I don't think he's the one. And I think we need to move away from that.
So basically, saying that Estevao is weak and he's not physically ready for the Premier League. I just want to get clarity as if that's what you're saying.
At the moment, the Premier League is very physical. There's a lot of pushing around going on, heavy tackles. A lot of these guys are 6+, 6 feet plus. He's not on the physical side. He's very lean. He's a young 18-year-old boy, slim, doesn't have the strength basically. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure he can put on some muscle. It might affect his performances or how he plays naturally. But I'm sure Ziyech was very slim, very skinny. He played on the same wing. And he was pretty okay. Some games he was good. He didn't really give us I don't know, the expectation. All the there was a lot of expectation on Ziyech, and I don't think he delivered as well. He did good in some games. He performed in like I want to say that one game against Dortmund. He was really good. The second leg. I think this is what 2023. Not the last time we won the Champions League. I think it was decent. But yeah, physically,
Sorry,
I don't
not to
think.
not to cut you, but
Yeah,
because I'm trying to really understand and I don't know. I don't want to say you're dodging the question, but
I'm
I'm
not
still not
dodging the
getting. I'm
question.
not really getting the answer. And I want to bring Bobby in as well. But I just want to quickly ask you this. So is it a case where you saw in the game, or you've seen in games where Estevao William looks like he's easily muscled off the ball? What exactly? Because you used the word weak and not ready physically. So I really want to understand the whole premise of why you think he's weak. I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I mean, maybe you say it differently. I don't agree with it, but I
I
mean,
have
I just want to understand.
yes. All I'm like I've seen in certain games. I can probably look at the probably mention the names that my the games. I can probably mention those games, and maybe that will give you um maybe like a quick sample, like something you can look at. But I've seen in certain games where he's easily pushed off the ball. You know, I'm sure he can trick. He uses his trickery, get past the defender. But when it comes to like shoulder to shoulder or like tackles, it's
Mhm.
easy for them to just get the ball off him. And at the moment, yes, he is physically on the weaker side. If that answers your question, and
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's easy to put expectation on him. Like when we face big games, big teams, um, I don't think it's right to say, okay, we have Estevao. He's gonna do the magic. He's gonna kill it. He's gonna score today.
Okay.
So
All right.
all I'm saying is we need someone kind of like Estevao on the physical side, maybe a little bit of strength, body on the left wing. Could be right, left, it doesn't matter. As long as they can, take a flank, I would say that's good. Um, but we need, like a maverick. We need someone we can rely on. Another Palmer, someone like a really top young wingers, like top talent, Chelsea, proper Chelsea. Some players we can rely on in big games, big, small, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's about not physically there for me. And you already know what I think of Neto. And I don't know if you want to talk
Mhm.
about the defenders, but we can talk about the defenders too.
Yeah. Is it a case where you have to leave now? Because I want to get Bobby's thoughts, but I
You can
really want
get
to see
Bobby
what the
as well.
defenders.
I'll be here. I can just be in the back.
Okay, no problem. All right, so big up to you, Bobby. I know you've been waiting a while. It's been a while since I've had the chance to speak to you on a panel.
Yeah, big up, guys. Sorry, big up, Ty.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
It's always good to join your streams. I think sometimes they clash. I might be on another stream while you're streaming, or
Yeah,
I might be asleep because of the time difference.
yeah.
But it's always a pleasure, honestly. So, what's the topic? What's the question?
Uh,
As it?
well, basically, we're doing a review of the match. Mighty was actually speaking about Estevao, and he was saying he doesn't think he's physical enough for the Premier League yet, and that he's weak in terms of being easily bullied off the ball or muscled off the ball. So I don't know. It's reviewing the game, but if you want to add in your thoughts on what he said or whatever the case may be, you can just come in and give your thoughts.
Well, the sporting director's squad planning over the past summer was pretty poor. I can understand it to a certain extent because of the European sanctions and the new PSR rules and the algorithm that curbs wages and so on. But they didn't plan correctly. They took the model, which is not a bad model, but took us backwards in that the players they sold were not replaced with upgrades, but they were replaced with retrogression, developments that we have already been through in terms of Gittins, and retrogression in terms of Garnacho, a player that's not even good enough in the first place. The wings are rotational positions. Neto at the moment, his form isn't, great, but Neto has never really been meant to be that player, that guy that plays week in, week out every single game. He's a bit of a rotator. Estevao, yes, I understand what's being said. I wouldn't even say so much that he's weak. It's just that, look, he's 18 years old. He's just come from Brazil. He needs to settle in the Premier League. He needs to settle in the country and he needs to grow. And to suddenly put the entire responsibility of the Chelsea wing, whether it be left or right, on his shoulders is just irresponsible. You need the squad depth enough for him to to develop and find his way into the team, and into the league. He's an exceptional player as it is, but he's a kid, he's a child, and you just can't do that to him, and he wouldn't be able to handle it anyway. Yes, the Premier League is particularly physical. I think he got a bit of a baptism of fire of that in the away game at Leeds, but our squad depth on the wings is extremely poor. That is the weakest sides of the Chelsea team. There's not enough squad depth there, and that's what we're suffering from.
All right. Fair enough. And and I think, is it Owen Hart? I always like this name. Owen Hart is saying Neto isn't doing great, but he isn't that guy injury prone prior to Chelsea. That is true, and under Maresca as well, he wasn't really the greatest player. You'd see flashes of him, like the moment against Fulham where he scored that goal, and of course we can say that really changed the season. Him and Tyke George scoring in that game against Fulham, and that really saved the season or brought that momentum back. But I think as Neto hasn't necessarily been that player ever. And I agree with what Bobby said in terms of, he wasn't never meant to be that type of player. He was always supposed to be rotational because of the players that we of course have signed on a long term. You have the likes of his name is slipping me now. I don't know why his name's slipping me now. The Portuguese player that we got, and he's at Sporting. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name now. But essentially, we have players that are yet to come in as well. And then when those players come in, it makes you wonder what's going to happen with a player like Neto. And I think the premise right now is that Neto may end up leaving in the summer. So if that happens, then you already know that you really have that response as to why that's the case. But as I've said, Neto, in terms of what we saw in recent time, it's always been a case where he is the the one that's tasked with dropping deep, being like a wing back, and especially mentioning that PSG game in the Club World Cup, we were able to see me utilized on the left hand side, linking up with Kukurea as like an additional left back slash left wing back, and vice versa. If he's on the right hand side, he's like another right wing back or right back to support the defense. So in terms of offensively, he hasn't really been the greatest in terms of being a consistent finisher. And during the Club World Cup, he was ripping up trees and all of that. And of course, losing his friend, in Jota and all that, he had that extra motivation to win the competition. But in terms of consistency, Neto has never really been consistent, whether it was due to him being injured at Wolves. But I don't know. Ever since he got injured at Wolves, what we would have probably seen in the early parts of him, in the Premier League, it really died out because whatever consistency he could have had, it was always being halted because he was always getting injured. And then of course when he came to Chelsea, it was less running and more being more technical and moving in a slower pace in terms of build up. So in terms of that, we don't really see the best out of him. I'm still going on to hope that he can, of course, do better and be more consistent. But at the same time, when you look at the philosophy of what these directors and the owners want to sign and the young players that we already have, Garnacho fits the bill. Garnacho fits into that bracket because he's 21, so he's very young. And I always say that when you look at Garnacho, you'd think that he's around 24 because of how young he would have been playing for Man United. But that's not the case. He's still very young, still can develop a lot, and that is expected for him. So yeah, but Mighty mentioned something about the defense. So I want to get your thoughts, Mighty, and I'll let Bobby answer. What do you have to say about the defense? How do you think the defense did today, Badia Shield, and especially in that first half, early parts of that first half? If you're still there. Okay, so it looks like Mighty is not there presently. How about you, Bobby? What do you think about the defense in this match against Palace?
Do you know the funny thing? I haven't seen the full game yet,
Oh, okay.
but talking about the defense, it always amazes me how fans can understand the fact that the attack is developing, but don't understand the fact that the defense is developing as well. We have a lot of young players there. Um, the 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 thing about the defense is that because of injuries and absence of certain players in that back line, there is it sometimes appears a little bit disjointed. For example, people get on the case of Badiashile, but you forget how rusty he must be because of all the injury absence he's had. People look at uh, but Fofana. Fofana is a very young player, really, but he's lost about 2 years of his development because of his long-term injuries. So he's almost like having a 21-year-old all over again. So a lot of our defense is not as bad as we tend to want to make out they are. And if we're going to go the distance with the attack, we have to learn to go the distance with the defense. We have situations where we're looking to bring in defenders and people are asking genuine questions. Are they better than what we have? Mamadou Sarr, for example, 6'4", fantastic African Cup of Nations, doing quite well at Strasbourg, and is a Chelsea player. What is the point in bringing in another developing player and putting that player ahead of him? Josh Achimpong, the same thing. Young, developing, excellent defender. Is this Jeremy guy, forgotten, Jacke? Is he better than Achimpong? Really? You know, we need to ask ourselves these questions. You know, the fan base, do we now just have to be patient? We've got Levi Colwill out injured. Even when he gets back, goodness knows how long it's going to take him to hit the ground running. So I don't know. I don't think the defense is as bad as people try to make it out to be, simply because we have to understand that they need time, and we need to give them that time.
Right. So might see. I don't know if you ended up hearing the question I had asked, and the question that Bobby really answered a while ago. But you mentioned about the defense. So and of course Bobby said I didn't really get to see the full game. Of course, I'm assuming you got to see the full game or most of the game. So you mentioned about the defense. So what do you think about the defense in the match today, especially the first half?
I haven't, I do agree with what Bobby said. I haven't really seen the game myself. I usually rewatch every time the game is over. I like to rewatch the whole thing again and get a better perspective. Immediate reactions. Every time I watch, the defense, my immediate reaction is always like negative. It's always like something's wrong. It's always disjointed. There's always like a bozo moment, one dimensional, just low thinking. Just so I like to go back and just not react on that first initial um viewpoint. So I'm gonna rewatch it later on and see what happened. I noticed Badishile he gave away the ball earlier in the first half. We almost he almost basically gave away a goal. Gifted Crystal Palace. It was a free goal, and thanks to Sanchez, who is really doing great so far. He's been really good since I want to say the Nottingham was it the Forest game? He's been really good, past 7-8 games in the Premier League, and he saved it. So I want to kind of see what led to that, what happened, the build up, all that extra detail. And in terms of I think Bobby already touched on it. He said they're all young, but the shit is young. He's 24, I think. He just turned 24, I think. So yeah, they're all young, inexperienced. They'll be making mistakes here and there, and yeah, I do see it. I do see and I do understand, and I just my viewpoint is, how long does that go on? He's 24 now. He's doing the same thing he's been doing since we got him. I think he had a very good game. The first season he was with us, I think he was good before he got injured. He was really looking like a top defender, center back. But he's 24 now, and so how long does that go on? Is my question. When do we say, okay, he's not good? He's really this is Buddy Schiller. He's gonna be making mistakes. He's gonna have bozo moments every game. So, like, where do we cut the cord? That's my only question with young center backs that they don't seem to develop as fast as you would want them to. Every game, fans will watch games, and they will always have a reaction. It's always going to be, was he good? Was he bad? And every time I watch Badishile, it's never really. I can't give him anything over a 7. It doesn't go over 7 with me with Badishile. It was 1 out of 10. He's a 7. It stops at 7. He hasn't shown a game where he played. He had a 8.5 plus rating. And then you have Chalaba. Chalaba is, he's solid. He's good. He's a very careful center back. That's the only thing I like about Chalaba. He's always careful. He plays it safe. He plays it simple. But he has mistakes in him too. He doesn't really. He's not a Saliba or a Gabriel. I really rate those defenders. The Arsenal defenders, those two center backs, they're top shelf, and they're young too. I think the same ages. You can probably double check their age. I think maybe they might be slightly older than Paddy Shelley.
I think the point here is injury.
Mhm.
Badiashile has never been match fit. He's still gaining that, getting rid of that match rustiness because he's been out injured for so long. He starts to pick it up, then he goes off again. Then he has to start all over again to pick it up. It's injury. Injuries have hampered the development of these defenders. Same thing with Fofana. Fofana is a magnificent defender. He would probably be up there as one of the best in the world if his injury record was good. So he's out, he's been out for years, and I think where he is, he's about 2 years behind where he should be. Colwell's out. Goodness knows how long it will take him to get back up to speed. So we have defenders that not only are young, but keep going in and out of game time due to injury. And we have no choice other than to be patient because it makes no sense getting rid of them to go and get another defender that's really no better than they are and is going to take the same amount of time developing anyway.
I would
Mm.
probably suggest a slightly more experienced defender, a proven center back who is less injury prone, very strong. Someone like I think Mark Gay is a little old. He's 27. He's much more experienced. But in terms of being solid, injury free center back, I would go for someone like him. And because we can't really cut our losses with Badishile. If he's always injured, rusty, never match fit, never really on top, he's not on his game, right? So either we can just wait and just wait for him to give us maybe 2 years of, 2 solid seasons of top level performances, or we can just put him on the side and get someone more less injury prone.
Mm.
And I think that would probably benefit the team if we did that. If the owners did that, which I highly doubt they will do. They will
No,
most
they're not.
likely.
They're not going to get a they're not going to get a more mature defender. That's not going to happen. What they keep doing, as far as I'm concerned, the mistake is they will keep getting defenders that are no better than the defenders they've got already, which makes no sense. We need to either stick with what we have and help them uh, 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 recover fully and get match fit and build up their build up their experience,
Right.
or we just waste time frustrating them and getting in somebody that's no better than them. I still ask the question, this Jacque guy, why are we getting him? Well, there's Achimpong. Jacque is going to come here and be at the same level as Achimpong. Only difference is that he's going to cost money. It makes no sense to me. Develop Achimpong, give him the game time, and watch him blossom into that defender we always know he can be. The problem with youngsters is that it's going to be painful. Achimpong makes some ridiculous mistakes sometimes, as does Badiashile. Okay, Chalobah is a bit older, but he's a kind of steady Eddie. He's not really out of this world as a defender. He's good enough, and he makes the odd mistakes every now and then because that's the position. Sometimes if you're going to develop, you have to go through the journey of development.
Right.
Yeah. And on the topic of the defense, I want to share this. I'm not sure if you've seen this, Bobby or Mighty, but of course, there's the news that came out. Well, it's more than I think it'll be over an hour now that Chelsea have decided to recall Aaron Anselmino from Dortmund. So I'm going to read this one, and there's another one that follows it as well. So this one, it was an exclusive from David Ornstein. And it says Chelsea trigger release clause recall Aaron Anselmino from Borussia Dortmund loan. CFC evaluating centre back market plus one 20-euro back from Dortmund to consider next steps. Same option on SAR, but Achimpong likely to say stay. Sale viewed as impossible. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the next one is this. It says Aaron Alsamino will be assessed before any decision is made on his immediate future, but he could potentially remain part of Liam Rosenior's first team squad. This was from Nizar Cancelo. So I don't know what you think about this, and probably would support your point about they're not going to really decide
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
experience because, of course, they're going to stick with the options that they have. And Alsamino is around 20 years old.
I
So,
think
yeah.
I think it's a good idea. You know, he has had a few injuries at Dortmund and probably hasn't played as much as he should have. But we have these defenders. You cannot just start throwing them away because they're developing and making a few mistakes every now and then. That's the nature of the beast. That's where we are. So we have to bring him back. He's see whether he's good enough to cut the mustard and take it from there. I'm all for it. I think physically he may struggle in the Premier League because he's not the biggest, but there are various ways you can play these sort of defenders. I'm all for it. I would rather see Mamadou Sarr come back because he has the height at the back that we very, very much need. You know, I'm happier to see a mistake from a 19-year-old Josh at the back, as painful as that mistake could be, than see the mistake from a 28-year-old Tosin at the back.
Fair enough. How about you, Mighty? What do you think about the news about Aaron Alsamino? Okay, I think Mighty is having some technical difficulties. But we'll just go to what's in the chat quickly. So Blue Line Chelsea saying there's no such thing as an injury-free defender. Well, I mean every player is at risk of or is prone to getting injured if they're placed in a situation where they can get injured. So not just a defender, but I think I can understand what you mean here that yeah, no, there's no player that's injury free for sure. And then Mabas is also saying here, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Mabas is saying that big up Ty, Bobby, and everyone on the panel and chat. I'm happy that Chelsea won 3-1 against Crystal Palace. Up the Chelsea as always. Yeah. Big up to you, Mabas. Thank you for taking the time to be here. To share your brief thoughts there. Mighty, are you still there?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm back.
All right. So you think about the news about Alsamino being recalled?
I'm all for it. Bring him back. We could use, we need center backs. We need. To me personally, I would rather see anyone, but the ones the people we have in the back. I want to see new legs. I want to see fresh faces. I want to see less bozo moments. I want to see center backs with maybe a little ball IQ. Like the Man City center backs. They always have these. I guess this is how Pep plays. He likes them to make creative passes between them. With Chelsea, what we see is, especially with our center backs, it's always one dimensional. Chalaba gets the ball, he passes it straight to Sanchez, and then Sanchez brings it back to him, and then it's always just then Chalaba then passes it to Badiashile. It's a very defensive. I guess that's the whole goal, but they're not stimulating their minds as much as they should. At least once you get the ball in a certain position, think of a progressive pass. Make a forward pass, give it to Enzo, who's always asking for the ball. He's always in the middle. He's like, pass it to me. But no, they rather play it safe. They rather just make it very readable for the opposition. And you don't want the opposition to to like learn your pass patterns. And I've noticed this with our defenders. It's very one-dimensional. It's very predictable, and I think if we can break that curse, if Anselmino can break that and bring in like something, I think Cole does it. Cole, he's great with his passing. If he can maybe bring something like that, a little some type of substance, I'm all for it. I'd rather see him in there, maybe have bozo moments like Badishile does, but also give us progressive passing, high IQ, smart passing, creative passing. So yeah, bring him on. I'm anyone to me personally. I will take anyone at this point. So Anselmino, I think Maresca, I think he's one of Maresca's center backs. I think Maresca purchased him or something. But yeah, bring him up. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, Blue Line Chelsea is not mincing his words or their words. They're saying the new panel. Okay, well, the new panelist is very negative. Would have loved to enjoy a positive show after such a promising win. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to be
Wow.
objective, as objective as I can, and it's good to be positive. But I'm not a fan of just being positive for the sake of a win. I'd rather see the details. I want to see the depths of the game, kind of provide a more analysis of the game. Not just, we've won and just let's be happy and smile. No, there's a lot more. There's depth to the game. Football is a chess, and there's a lot of thinking behind chess. It's chess, checkers, whatever you want to call it. So, I apologize if I'm too negative, but I want to be as objective as I can and just speak my truth and just say it as how I see it. But if you want to if you want me to be positive and just tell you, oh, it's good, I'm not gonna do that, unfortunately.
Okay. So um, but as I've said, I mean, you're free to give your opinion, and it's not about us agreeing. And I like, if anything, I like when people come on and they give thoughts that will that will evoke a reaction from those who are watching or listening, because it means that it makes it more interactive. And I don't like having just a positive show. I agree with being objective, and also I wouldn't say being on the fence, but of course looking at things from our side. And I've said it to you already, Mighty. I may not agree with everything that you've said, but I can respect the honesty. I can respect the fact that you're giving your thoughts based on what you've seen, and and that isn't to say that what you're saying or what Blue Line Chelsea is saying is inherently wrong. But at the same time, I think by having these sort of conversations, it does allow for people to really think about, oh, why did this person really say this, or what's the value behind it, and not just agreeing on having an 1 hour stream where everybody's just saying, oh yes, I love the way that we did this and I love that we did that. But as Bobby made that solid point, where in terms of, we have to look at the facts that when you look at the options that we have the likes of Fofana and Badiashile, who both have been hit with injuries since they've been at Chelsea. Badiashile, if I'm not mistaken, was a player that a lot of people respected and probably still respect in terms of his ball playing. And overall, his ball playing was something that people praised him about, especially when we had Silva around, where you could trust Badiashile alongside Silva, someone that would guide him. But in recent time, when you play Tosin and Badiashile together, you don't really see that consistency. But at the same time, I do think that there's things, and in terms of the Anselmino thing, I'm happy. There is reports saying that this may not necessarily mean that they won't go for a Jeremy Jacquet. It's just a case where they may try to get a pre-agreement agreed, and then probably try to make him remain at Saturday, and then in the summer he would come in. And of course, Chelsea's not the only club interested. City is also rumored. Liverpool is also rumored to be interested. So in terms of that, I mean, we already know what the blueprint is. The model is very straightforward, and I've said this to Jerry. I've said this to every Chelsea fan or every fan channel that I've gone on. Um, and I've said it that at the end of the day, okay, okay, what's going on here? Okay, are you here, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm around. I was trying to switch devices, but there's something wrong with my second device.
Okay,
Let's see.
right. So basically, in terms of the defense, we already know, and the model itself, we know that they're not going to really sign anybody experienced. It would be shocking. I think the whole thing about, was it Is it Sensi, or I think that's the name, from Bournemouth? It was a case where it was just something to just make fans feel happy, because to say that, okay, we're looking at these options, but Jeremy Jacquet is ideally the one that they really want, because he's the height. He is said to be good in the air, and I've done videos on both Mamadou Sarr and Jeremy Jacquet. You can always check those out if you haven't, because I do those type of videos. So, and I try to do a profile video, make people understand, for those who will end up watching the video, understand why these players are signed, or why the players are linked with Chelsea. And we know that the model is a case where they signed young. And I mean, it makes sense to them, and it makes sense to people who can, look at things from all angles. And the reality is, when you sign a bunch of young players, or you sign young players who are at clubs where they're not earning a high amount of money, it's easier for you to persuade them to accept a wage that fits into the wage bill, or the wage gap that they've placed, where you don't have players on 200,000 without them being merited. They're about meritocracy, and being, and proving that you deserve to be there. But at the same time, we can all see that there's flaws to that, because they gave Jackson a new contract, and we all know the situation with Jackson right now. He fell out with Maresca. Maybe he could come back, but I'm not sure if that is at a window that's really there, because I don't really see the club really, leaving the door open in a way that they would for other options. And I'm thinking about the situation with Senegal, and them winning AFCON. And in the past, I can remember when players that are out on loan, because he is technically a player of Chelsea. This Chelsea is still the parents' club. It's a loan, not they didn't sell him. It's an option to buy, but the option to buy is not necessarily going to really be triggered by Bayern Munich at this time, and he hasn't played enough minutes to really warrant them, triggering that option. So I don't know. The situation is strange, because you look at those players and you give them a new contract at the same time. It goes downhill rapidly, because I don't really think after they gave him that contract, he really had that level of consistency ever again. So I don't know. It's an odd one with Jackson, for example, and the whole model itself. But at the same time, that's just the case. I want to really go look at the poll that I put out, and I know that Bobby said that he didn't really get to see the game in full, and of course Mighty has also said that. But the poll that I put out, asking people who the man of the match was, there's 5 votes. 80% said Estevao Willian, and 20% said Andrea Santos. So nobody else said someone else. But considering the what's the word? The sample size of the votes, I suppose it's not really surprising that it's not necessarily a large margin. So 80% says Estevao Willian. I think Estevao Willian did very good. He got a goal, and he had a chance to score 2 goals in that first half, and then he of course got the assist for João Pedro. Today was the day of the South Americans, I'd say, because if it was Enzo Fernández scoring the penalty, it was the Brazilians who were really standing. Oh, Andrés Santos winning the ball back, making passes, linking up with Estevao and all of that. So we were able to see the South Americans. Even Caicedo was in the headlines, albeit not entirely for all the positive reasons. He almost got sent off, and I'm not sure, and I don't know if it's on the coach per se, because it was the same thing on the Maresca, for example. He just getting booked for unnecessary tackles or making unnecessary tackles. So that's something that needs to be addressed, because as much as we know he's important, he can also be a liability when it comes on to him making tackles, because he just does a whole bunch of reckless tackles. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the poll, Ajay Santos really is showing that it's not one or the other. And when I say this, I always feel as if I'm critiquing the former coach in Maresca when he was saying that it's either Enzo or Santos, and we saw we played all three of them. Rosenio has proven that it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can play all three of them, and you can have perfect balance, because we didn't have any issues in the midfield era. The problem was that we made some ball playing errors, and of course, Crystal Palace had their chances, and of course, at set pieces, up until we made those substitutions that really changed the whole tempo and the the way the flow of the game. We were doing perfectly fine defensively. We were defending as a unit. We were clearing the ball whenever Crystal Palace had chances. So it's not like the defense was necessarily bad today. It was an unfortunate situation where poor man marking, and Sanchez will feel disappointed. He made a good save. He was down after making the low save. And then, of course, his teammates weren't able to help to clear the ball. And of course, Chris Richards had a chance to just score, to just place the ball beyond him and the defense. And of course, those who were marking from that corner kick that they got. So, in terms of that, it really is. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it was a bad game. I think it was an okay game. It was a positive result for sure. And the statistics is positive as well. 5 games, 4 wins, and of course one loss. Of course, being that first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final against Arsenal, and by a close margin as well. Anything can happen in that second leg. We have certain players coming back. The only downside is Cole Palmer, which I don't know. I want to get your thoughts, because, as I said, this is the first time I really had the chance to speak to Bobby, and of course the first time I've gotten to speak to you, Mighty, on the panel. What do you think about the situation with Cole Palmer? Is it something that you're concerned about in terms of the trajectory of his career, or do you think it's a case where he'll be back and there won't be any issue with Cole Palmer, because he wasn't even in the squad in the match today?
Yeah, I can go first. I think Bobby might be.
Okay.
Yeah, so with Palmer, I think he's going through injuries. I would say groin, and I think with something else as well. Um, in terms of performances, he's been poor. He's not the Cole Palmer, you know, from a season ago. He's now on the same level. So it's obviously injuries and maybe mixed with being out of form. We've seen a lot of good players go out of form. Like they just there's no injuries, nothing was wrong with them. They're just now on the same level. We've seen it with Salah. Salah, he's always good, but sometimes it's something that happens to a lot of players. So I'm not gonna fault. I can't fault Palmer for not showing up for us in big games and um, going through these changes circumstances. I know there's a quality play in there. Um, High IQ, top 10. So I would say I think we just gotta be patient with him. In terms of his future, I think he'll be here. All the rumors with Man United, I think it's just rumors. I think it's just fake news. Yeah, I think just he'll be here for maybe 4 more seasons, give or take. If he doesn't really, just nothing. Hopefully, nothing crazy happens. But he's here for a little longer than a season or two. But yeah, I think he'll be here. And yeah.
Is it just me, or I'm not hearing my T?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can't hear.
Okay.
Don't hear
Oh,
me.
yeah, easy. Were you still talking, my T?
I think the audio keeps going off and on. But yeah, I think I said what I needed to say with Cole Palmer, and yeah, I think Bobby can go in now. He can have his 2 cents.
Yeah. Clearly, there's a chronic injury with Cole Palmer. He's not fully fit, which explains his form. Some people may say he needs a rest. If we could be brave enough, since his injury seems to have no permanent solution, if we could be, this is also why we need to maybe do something in the midfield this January on loan, because we may have to write him off for the rest of the season so he can go rest and properly recover.
There was the report about Douglas Luiz. Not sure if it's true, but I had seen something from Fabrizio Romano in the past about a loan for Douglas Luiz. I'm not sure if it will bear any fruits. There's still some days left of the January transfer window. So if anything comes up, maybe I do believe that he should get surgery. I know, of course, it's a World Cup year, and it's going to be a summer of the World Cup. So maybe that is one of the reasons why they're trying to let him take rest. But I think for a chronic issue like this one, it's something where he needs to get surgery, or needs to do some sort of procedure, because it's not looking like it's gonna fix itself, or it's gonna just work out by itself. He may need to do it, and of course, for a player like Cole Palmer, he wants to be a part of the World Cup squad, be a part of the team, so that he can try to help the team in terms of do well in the World Cup. But in terms of his career, if he wants to really have a consistent career where he's not being plagued with injuries, he's gonna probably have to look into getting surgery. And right now, it's not looking like it's gonna be likely if he doesn't get surgery either way. So I don't know, but it's a strange one with Cole Palmer. I do hope that it gets resolved quickly. We are short in terms of options, especially with Bournemouth, being recalled by Brighton and all of that. So it's odd. I don't know. As Bobby said when he came on initially, the squad building and planning was very bad from the directors. And when you look at it now, Bournemouth could have gotten more game time. He wasn't getting enough game time as well, and he's also a young player that needed game time to really develop. So we didn't even get to see how good he really was. We were only able to see glimpses here and there in some competitions, and then sadly, Rossenia didn't really get the chance to really work with him long enough to really give us that understanding of if he could even deputize for an absent Cole Palmer. So it's a strange one. We don't really have much options in that number 10 role. I know we were linked with Simmons, and of course, based on what's going on at Tottenham, people say that it's a good thing we didn't get Simmons. But I mean, at the same time, I don't know. It's a strange one, as I said, with Cole Palmer, and I hope it gets resolved quickly. But yeah, hopefully gets resolved quickly. To be honest. So I'm gonna look in the comments now. Um, Blue Line Chelsea is really coming for my T, not mighty. My T. His name is my T. But he says, I would love to hear any positives from Mr. Mighty. But it's my T. My MY and then T. That's what it is, not mighty, but if any. I don't know if you want if you have anything to say, or you can probably just skip this.
I can say, okay, Blue Lion Chelsea. Okay, I can be positive, man. I guess I can come off negative, but I guess that's the impression I get when I first watch a game, and I guess every fan is kind of this way. The emotions get to them in a way, and if you want me to be more, I can be more positive. I can say something like, I know Sanchez had a great game today. He was solid. Estevao, 10 out of 10 performance again. Moises Caicedo, baller. What, what I mean? Best cam in the world. I can say positive things, but I rather focus on all the issues we have going on. We have more negatives than positives. We have a lot of issues with this team, and I want to focus on that. I know coach from Chelsea perspective, he likes to be overly positive, but we can't just stay there. We have to really look at the negative side of this team and what's going on around it. And
Wow.
well, that's all. I just want to be
Wow.
more objective.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that
Not
yeah.
not coach getting catching strays, man. My word. They're catching strays, man.
Hey,
Poor coach.
I'm a fan of coach. Coach. I like
Mm,
coach, but sometimes I
yeah.
feel like he's too positive. You can't be too positive. You have to sit on the fence, or you have to just maintain a level. He's always saying, he's always over hyping things, and I'm like, come on, it's. Hey, do you work for the club? Like, are you a fan?
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Let's move on. I don't want you to get me into trouble. Let's
No,
move
no,
on.
no.
Let's move on.
I'm just speaking my
Let's move
mind,
on.
man. That's it.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
But
At
hey,
point. At,
Blue Line Chelsea, I can be positive, man, but I want to
uh,
focus on the negative, and that's we have a lot of issues, and that's what I'm focusing on. That's it. But I'm sure Bobby will.
I need to come in here because
okay.
I was letting you slide until you said something
Go ahead.
and you asked the question, are you a fan? The answer to that is 101 million% yes. Never challenge a Chelsea fan on his allegiance. You want to be negative? That's your prerogative. Nobody's going to argue with you for that. But if somebody sees a positive side of things, let them have their view as well. I think it's not all negative. I haven't fully watched the game, but there are some things that we cannot run away from.
Mhm.
Last season, I know it was a better Crystal Palace, but still, last season, if we had gone away to Palace, the best we could have probably hoped for is a draw. This guy has gone there with his team that he's never even had a proper training session with, and he's won 3-1. Should have been 3-0. There's something about his pragmatism and his understanding of the Premier League that is good. Now, the jury's still out on him, but I think he's in the past, 4 or 5 games, he's shown some sort of awareness, if not tactical, but understanding of the physicality he's up against in the Premier League that has bode well with the team. It doesn't have to be all negative. There's nothing
Mhm.
all negative about it. Chelsea is about 2, 3 players off from being an exceptional team. They're already a team as it is that a lot of teams do not want to play against. Because when we hit our form, we can beat anybody. But there's been mistakes made in the summer by the sporting directors. Yes. Does it mean that we should stand outside the stadium with placards asking for people to get out? No, I think it's ridiculous. I think that all these protests and egg barley out, and it's just like a child spitting a dummy out of his pram. Look, there, well, exactly. There's a journey to be had here. There is a project that we have taken for good reason. I understand why they've gone down this route. There's a lot of regulatory constraints, a lot of financial compliances that they
Mhm.
have to rectify and stick with. But have they always done it correctly? No, they've made some mistakes. But if you look at the history as to how they bought the club in the first place, it was a very, very challenging and difficult undertaking.
Mhm.
Can they fix the mistakes? Of course they can. Of course they can. But you have to invest wisely. Somebody was saying that he thinks the arrival of Anselmino doesn't necessarily mean they won't purchase Jeremy Jacquet, is his name, whatever.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not against the purchase. You know the guy. You've done a video of him, and that's fantastic. And we all need to go and look at that video to have a better understanding of this player. And that's really useful information. But my point is, if you're going to have developing young players in your team, you have to give them the time to develop.
Yeah.
And this is the one frustration I had with the selling of Noni and the ostracizing of Jackson. We
Mhm.
went through 2 seasons of pain watching those guys develop. Pain. Jackson missing open chances, Madueke dribbling himself. We went through all of that and then got them to a point where one could say that they were decent players. Jackson's numbers were 30 outfield goals, no penalties in 2 seasons. Madueke was so good that, Arsenal and the like were sniffing around him. So after we've gone through that pain of developing a player, we should enjoy the fruit of that developed player, not
Yeah.
kick him out and recycle and go right back to the beginning again with Gittins and Garnacho. So to me, that's a mistake. But with every negative, comes a positive. But asking people if they're fans when they are fans, um, is almost stating the obvious. I'm blue, and I'll tell you now, anything I say about Chelsea comes with a humongous Chelsea bias. That's who I am. My heart is blue. I've been blue for decades. I've been involved with the club. So I'm not going to sit here and castigate the club. That's never going to come from me, and it's never going to come from any of the streams that I choose to join.
Mhm.
Um, that's
Really, I'm not. I was being sarcastic with that comment, but I'm not questioning him being a fan or his integrity. All I'm saying is we're all on the same. We can all be on the same positive cloud, right? Cloud 7, 10, 20, whatever cloud you want to go on. We can be there. We can all be happy, lovely, jubbly. But we also have to look at the negative, the bad of the games. When players make mistakes, when tactics are all wrong, substitutions, things like that. And when you have fans who always kind of just point out the positive whenever you mention something negative that happened within a specific match, you start to question what the motive is.
well,
Like, like,
that's not realistic. That's going on to delusional, isn't it?
what isn't it?
You know,
No, it would be delusional to just be positive regardless. Hey,
exactly.
João Pedro scored today, but do we want to keep talking about his goal today, or do you also want to mention how his form has been and how many goals he has scored today, right? What's the
Yep.
expectation on a false nine? He can play in the 10. He played for Brighton. He scored a lot of penalties. He comes here, right? He comes to Chelsea, and we have a specific standard for him. If he's not reaching it, and you try to point that out, and you say, okay, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and someone else, a fan, comes in and tells you, okay, but he scored today, so what? You know, like that defeats the whole, the purpose of being a fan. Basically, we have to see things.
Mm.
We have to kind of go in a certain direction, and that's progression and winning things, winning trophies, being dominant. That should be the aim. We shouldn't
Um,
just be positive and just you know
Can we just talk about João Pedro, because that's a very interesting topic?
Yeah, and I just want to quickly just say something. But yeah, you can do that, and that's where I was gonna go next because I want us really discuss the players who scored as well. But yeah, and there's something that Bobby said that I really liked, and I think the way he said it just sums it up perfectly. Um, it and I would just want to add my own sort of analogy quickly. It's like you've grown some fruits, or you plant a seed, and you're trying to grow a fruit, and then and then as soon as the fruits or the tree starts to bear fruit, you decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to just let anybody take it. You don't benefit from it. You grew it, but it's just a case of you're just selling it. So you're just growing these fruits so you can sell it, but you don't benefit from it because it's always just selling and selling and selling. And then you just start growing more trees and more trees that can bear fruits or whatever the case would be. It could be vegetables, whatever. But you don't ensure that you benefit from what you're doing. So you're doing all the work, and then somebody else benefits from it, but you're not getting any benefit. I'm not saying that all the players that we've bought are going to be at Chelsea, because I've always said that for years now that these owners have been here. That my biggest issues with them really stems from the problem that they're selling a lot of these players false dreams, because realistically we know this. It's not something unique, and I'm not criticizing them on that, because I know that on the Roman, something that people loved, we were doing the same thing. When before we had these restrictions or these limitations, and of course Chelsea was a part of why these limitations were added, because we got a transfer ban for it, buying a bunch of young players as well. So it's not like it's unique, or that these owners have brought in something unique. It's always been happening at Chelsea. It's been happening at other clubs as well. You build for the future. No, and it happens whenever any successful business, they know that when or whatever institution it is, they know that they have to plan for the future, because sometimes you're gonna lose some people as well, and people get older, and the older they get, the more you have to gradually replace them and integrate the younger individuals or new people gradually. But you don't get rid of everybody, and then you leave yourself with just inexperience. That you can't have inexperience leaving inexperience. It's not like the whole physics thing where one negative and a negative can lead to a positive. No, you can't have inexperience plus inexperience leads to experience. That doesn't work. You can gradually develop experience by learning and going through adversity, and having to defy the odds and all of that. But that's the biggest issue. But speaking about João Pedro and all of that and his form, um I'm gonna go with my take. Bobby spoke vividly on that, so I want to give him some time, to really gather his thoughts. But Mighty, what do you have to say about João Pedro in terms of his form, as you brought that up?
Right. So, let me touch on the positive first, because I'm being accused of, not being too positive. I think he was good today. He was an 8 out of 10. He scored, he made runs. I think he makes better striker runs. Maybe this is just me being biased, but when it comes to the movement of a true number 9, he does it better than Dilap in most games. And I hope I'm not the only one who's saying this. He's always making runs. He's always getting pushed over. Just getting nudged and falling, and easy to kind of dispossess and whatever. But when it comes to movement, I like his movements a lot. It's very good. He's playing a false 9 position, and he's adapting. He's doing good, but it's not the standard of a striker. I'm sorry. Dilap too. I want to touch on Dilap later on if you want to touch on him, but João Pedro, I feel like he's maybe better utilized when he plays in the 10 position, and maybe a striker in front of him, not Dilap. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe it's the tactics. Maybe it's form. Maybe it's him needing more time. But my whole take on players needing time to, just time to adapt. I don't like that. I prefer players to like the Roman era. That's what I'm used to. I guess all of us are, right? We want, freshly made, come in, score, bang on, no time needed, no, we don't need to wait for you to get good, or, all these extra things. We want you to be ready. You get purchased for a lot of money. Go do your job, right? But you hear these statements like, okay, we have to give him time. He's young. He's this. He's all that. Come on, like, when are we gonna be serious? When are we going to win this? When are we gonna be up there with Arsenal and Man City? So yeah, I feel in terms of, I'm kind of veering off from the topic, but yeah, Pedro, I think he should return to his position in the 10, and then we should probably look at it, maybe more number 9. Someone like Alvarez. I heard we were linked with Alvarez. I say go get him. Be serious. Drop 120,000, 150 million, whatever he needs. Get a proper striker. We don't want to be in top 4 every season, fighting for top 4. We need to go up the table. We need to be in first and second. Those should be the standard. But I think that's all I'm gonna give on João Pedro. I don't want to say too much because I might feel it might come off a little negative, but I think he had a great game today. He was really good. But it's Crystal Palace. I think against maybe Arsenal or Man City, do we see the same João Pedro? I don't know. It's very iffy. He's very inconsistent. Yeah, but it was good today.
Yeah, I want to get Bobby's thoughts because I have something interesting to say about what you've just said. So I'm gonna let Bobby come in and I'll just come in last.
Well, it comes back to the same premise, doesn't it? A developing team, developing players, young players, and you have to go through the course of that development. It doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't happen with the click of a finger. João Pedro actually has never been that number 9. I don't know who started that rumor. I think it may have been Maresca, it may have been Pedro himself. He's always been a supporting striker. And he's an excellent player. He really is a very, very good player. And he's even better if he has the right type of support or the right type of striker to play with. Now, Liam Delap, another developing kid, is a good striker, but he needs time. First full season at Chelsea, had lots of injuries or long layoff through injury, so is still just either in his preseason or getting out of his preseason again. So that's another hiccup. You see, when you have a young team and you're riddled with the injuries Chelsea have had, you'll have not only the inconsistencies of their youth, but the inconsistency created by their recovery. I don't have a problem with João Pedro. I think he's improved upon his time at Brighton because he's not taking penalties and he's scoring 9 goals. He scored 10 goals all of last season with Brighton, and most of them were penalties. He scored 9 goals so far at Chelsea, and none of them are penalties. So that in itself shows some improvement. Now, you could say it made the responsibility he's had at Brighton is different to what he has at Chelsea. Yes and no. Chelsea have had injured strikers, and as far as I'm concerned, they made a mistake with Jackson. Jackson should have never have left the club. All these people that were saying, "Oh, Chelsea don't need 3 strikers." Yes, we do. João Pedro is not a striker. He's a support striker. We needed Delap and another, and Jackson would have been perfect for that. But that bus has left the station, and now we're left with just these 2. And I don't think they're going to change that. Not in the near future. Not until I think what's the guy from Strasbourg that's coming over? He'll be a solution to that, because really what João Pedro was, he was an alternative to to Cole Palmer, and this would have been a very good season for him to do that job, because Palmer is in and out with injury and trying to get his fitness. So I think João Pedro is a very good acquisition, but because of the poor squad planning, he's having to do jobs that really he wasn't meant to do in the first place.
Yeah, and thank you very much for that, because you mentioned three things that I really wanted to mention as well, and this and just to answer one of the questions that you said, and when I mention this, people always say I'm criticizing or I hate the former coach, but it's not that. I'm not going to repeat what I've been saying numerous times, because I know people like Jerry will say I need to stop doing that. But in terms of that, João Pedro has always been misprofiled by Moresco. And also, I think João Pedro didn't help matters as well, because he himself said in his first interview that he likes to play as a striker, which to me is crazy. But I don't know. When he said that, I was so puzzled, because when I looked at what he did at Brighton, he was never a striker. He was always playing off somebody. And as you mentioned, everybody keeps saying that a lot of people say we don't need three strikers, and I'm saying, in what world do you know anybody or any team that doesn't have somebody that can play as a striker in the events that their key two strikers are not available? That never made sense to me. And I remember being attacked by somebody when I said that in the past we had strikers where we had situations where we had more than two strikers. One of them, of course, was
Talou, Anelka,
exactly.
and Drogba.
Yeah,
Among
100%.
others.
Information on top
Yeah.
of that. All credit
Yeah.
goes to them.
Remember, storage when in the early parts he was there. Of course, he ended up leaving because wanted more game time, and of course injuries and everything really hampered his career as well. But it's something that's possible. And I think I remember mentioning when he signed the lap, because I did a whole stream when he was unveiled. I said that I hope we don't lose Jackson, and then boom, Jackson ended up leaving after that as well. I felt so disappointed, because I know that Jackson and João Pedro would benefit each other massively, because what I see from Jackson, or I should say, what I see from João Pedro is exactly what you get from Jackson in terms of dropping deep, being a part of the build up, and then running up. And then he has to be doing it. And that is why I keep saying it. One of the reasons why I do the videos that I do in terms of profiling of these players is so that anybody that sees it, I'm not going to educate everybody, because not everybody who is in the fan base will see my video. But for the people that I associate myself with, I communicate with, at least let them know that this is the profile of the player, and this is what he's typically done in the past, and therefore this is a possibility that he may continue to do this. You can't be expecting and having unrealistic expectations for players who are not that type of player. So this whole thing of, he's not doing good as a striker. Oh wow, he's not doing good as a striker because he's not a striker. He's a supporting striker. He's a player that plays behind a striker or behind a focal point. You're not going to see João Pedro do that, because João Pedro is never going to get that sort of striker instinct per se in terms of being in the right area. And the irony behind is that Delap in the early parts, and the reason why we even got Delap was because he was a nuisance to us last season. I remember the game when Jurgensen gave a penalty, and because of how he was frustrating, playing off the last defender and doing stuff like that, that is why we got Delap. And then, of course, it goes back to what Bobby mentioned earlier about the injuries, and not just the defense, but also the attack. We've had injuries. So in terms of players having the ability or the chance to really make mistakes or make errors or really adapt or adjust to the team, they haven't gotten that chance, because it's either the players that really benefited them when they were in pre-season, because I call the Club World Cup a pre-season sort of situation for a lot of the players that we got during that period, like a Delap who really came in during the pre-season. Of course, we know João Pedro came in lots of parts of the Club World Cup, I should say, not pre-season. So that is very important to consider. So I'm happy you mentioned that. But there's something that Mighty mentioned that really made me wonder, and it made me say that this is the problem that we have. Because if we look back at the history of Chelsea under Roman, yes, we were winning trophies, we were winning the league, but the problem that we kept having was consistency. It was always especially after we won the league back-to-back with Jose Mourinho. After that, we were never consistently winning the league, and that's just the reality. And one of the biggest issues, especially after 2012, for example, was that when the likes of Lampard and Drogba more so than anybody else, when he left, it was a case where we never really found the ideal striker immediately. We got Costa eventually, and then Costa ended up leaving after spending 3 years at the not 3 years. It would have been around 4 years or something like that, or so. It was a short period. I know that for a fact because the whole Conte thing. But that was the issue. It was a case where we didn't have a striker, or not just strikers. When we lost certain players like a Lampard, as I mentioned, we never had anybody that could really come in to really assist, in making that transition easier. Because it's either those players were getting sold because they were too young, and of course, looking back in hindsight, it was probably for the best for them. But when you look at the trajectory of where Chelsea could have been consistently, because we didn't find solutions to really replace the players that were leaving, like a Lampard or in recent time like a John Terry, up until we got Silva in terms of leadership or guiding the team or guiding the defense and being a mentor to the defense or the defenders. We don't really see that. So that is the biggest problem. And getting someone that's ready made, it's not going to be easy to get, especially with the restrictions. So I heard you mention about Julian Alvarez, Mighty, in terms of you don't care how much it is, just go and get him. But we have to understand also that the wage bill is the way that it is, the dynamics is the way that it is. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be going for a player like him, but at the same time, we also have to consider the fact that we have so many strikers that are on our books, that whether it's from the academy, whether it's on loan, who's yet to come in. We have Emmanuel Emega, who's supposed to come in. We have Gu, who's still a Chelsea player. We have Delap. Jackson, not necessarily a striker, but also you have him as well. We have Shimaweka. We have you have Dujon Whisper Richards from in the academy. We have so many strikers, and unless it's a case you're going to be selling those players so that you can get these players in, it makes no sense. It's like the defense. Just signing players for the sake of signing players and then not having anywhere or having a plan for them, it's not feasible. It's not logical. No squad building happens like that. And that is the biggest issue that I have in terms of what we're doing, because I know that a lot of these players are never going to play for Chelsea. The most a lot of these players will do is maybe wear this shirt once in terms of for the first time when they're being unveiled, and then that's it. They never even play for the first team ever. And we even have Washington, for example. I forgot about him. He's playing in the under 20s as well. So we have so many strikers, and I don't understand what we're going to do with them. So that is the issue that I really have in terms of the planning and all of that. But yeah, I don't know, man. But as I mentioned, João Pedro, he scored a goal, as we said. Estevão William, he was the man of the match for a lot of people. So, and I know what Mighty has to say, but in terms of the trajectory of what you think for Estevão William, Bobby, I know you said you didn't watch the game in full. I didn't really get to see the match per se. But what do you think about the trajectory of Estevão? I'm saying Enzo Fernández. What am I saying? Estevão William.
No, Estevao is an exceptional player. He really is. It's his first season. He's 18 years old. First time in the Premier League. First time in the country. He's going to need settling in time. He's going to need adaptation to the culture. He doesn't even speak the language. You know, anybody expecting a lot from him more than he's given already is another very unrealistic fan, if you ask me. You know, he needs time. A lot of these kids like him will come over to any big club, and it takes them 2, maybe even 3 seasons before you even see them. Chelsea have given this guy exposure almost immediate. In fact, not almost, immediately. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with the amount of game time he's getting. If anything, he's probably getting too much game time. Yes, Estevao is going to be a superstar for sure, but we have to be patient. This is another thing. Oh, play him every week. You know, he does 1 or 2 good things, and everybody's like, oh, he should be starting. Oh, we need to have him playing every week. No, we don't. We need to ease him in. He does good things, yes, good. And you bring him on to keep doing those good things and take away the pressure from his shoulders. I just want to go back to what was being said about Roman. People have short memories. They, Chelsea under Roman were in a purple patch. It was a brilliant time, trophies galore every season. But what hampered Roman was two things. One, his constant changing of coaches, whether it was his fault or not. People say he got rid of Mourinho, but now we've all come to know that Mourinho would have left anyway. That was Mourinho. He wouldn't stay with you more than 3 seasons if you're lucky. And he kept on having those types of managers. Another thing is people forget that Roman and Chelsea have been battling the establishment for forever. If it's not the media, it's the football institutions. And all the regulations that is in football today, its genesis was to target and derail Chelsea. That's what it was all about. When Roman came, they're after him now, but there was no such thing as FFP. There was no such thing as PSR. And they're trying to use FFP and PSR rules to penalize him. And indeed, the club that's been owned by a totally different set of ownerships that have nothing to do with those practices. You cannot get it more vindictive than that. And it is that same vindication that this ownership is really suffering from. They're having to navigate PSR. They can't, but they're not going out to buy certain players because they know that if Chelsea so much as breathe the wrong way, everybody and their dog is out to get them. The more case in point is that Man City are out there buying this, buying that. They're not facing so much as a suspension. And they have 115 financial charges still unanswered after 3-4 years, all being swept under the carpet. That's the difference. If that was Chelsea, do you think by now Chelsea wouldn't have at least a 2-year transfer ban pending the outcome of the investigations? So there is this hostility that we have to face. People forget that part of Chelsea's inconsistency was caused by the fact that, Roman was sanctioned twice. The first time, just when he was about to build a stadium, they decided he did something to upset the government and he couldn't come back into the country. And then the second time through a war that I still remain that questionable of his involvement, to be honest. I don't understand the fullness of it all, but it just seems very odd to me. So he was battling the system anyway. And of course, his club suffered. The first time he couldn't come back to the country, he had to use his PA to run the club. And he had to do it remotely from wherever he was, from outside the country, using her. So it's never been easy for Chelsea, and it's never been easy for Roman. And it's miraculous that upon all that pressure, he managed to have the level of unmitigated success that he had with Chelsea Football Club.
Man, wow, that was a lot. Yeah, I mean, and that is also the reality as well. That is actually the case, because we can't say that didn't actually happen. We know that he was unable to be at Chelsea, be at Stamford Bridge and all that, and to be in England due to the restrictions, and then of course the whole situation with the sanctions that would follow. But I don't know. It's a really complex situation, especially when you look at on everything that that Chelsea has had to overcome in the last 4 years, particularly. It, and it's crazy to think that in just a couple of months, right on right on the birthday, because I will never forget that the birthday of Chelsea. It'll be 4 years since that's very very sad and traumatic situation happened. Not only for Chelsea but also for a country. I don't really get political, but in terms of when all of that happened, and looking at how much the whole media and and those involved were trying to bury Chelsea and saying that, oh, Chelsea's gonna die, and 1905 to 2022 and all those things, and that's the end of it. But as we know, the ownership it's an ownership that they're still learning on the job. The the only thing different from it is that, of course, with Roman, and I'm happy that Bowie mentioned it. He had less limitations. So even if Roman himself didn't have an understanding of the football dealings, or how to really run a football club, he had the people that he could depend on, and of course the limitations weren't there. And of course we know back then, the prices of players weren't that high, or if anything. So when you look at the prices for players at that time and what was a record fee at that time to what a record fee is now, you can see how much football keeps evolving, how football is always changing, and that is one of the biggest things. So when you reflect on it, you realize that Roman really had a lot of reasons for wanting to sell the club. And when you look at the history, especially 2018, when Todd Bowley himself, was interested in buying the club at that time, that would have been the perfect time for him to say that, you know what, I'm being restricted, and it's probably for the best. And of course, that only 4 years later, and it's just crazy. It's always 4 years later that a lot of these things are happening. So, from 2018 to 2022, when he eventually had to sell the club, and of course, 4 later, now we are about to hit the 4 years anniversary of that situation happening, where the club was barred from doing dealings and having supports, in terms of financially, from other than those who have season tickets or bought tickets elsewhere. So it really is an unfortunate situation. But focusing on the whole premise of it, I mentioned about Anselmino. I'm probably butchering his name. I really want to see what happens, and I really hope he stays at the club, because he really is a player that has a lot of potential. And I mean, a lot of the players that we have will have a lot of potential as well. Now, I want to do this. There's what, 2 people watching. I'm gonna implore you guys to drop a like again. Please share the stream as well. I think we can do better than this. And also, I'm gonna do this as well. I've always said this. I haven't promoted this in a long time, but I'm gonna do this again. There is the option to send a super chat. I'm imploring you to send a super chat. If you haven't considered it before, I'm telling you it's best, because it will actually go a long way. That's just it. That's all I have to say. Send a super chat. It goes a long way. And of course, there is the membership. There's videos out on the membership, or the members only playlist on the channel. It's the go-to place if you want to see the content that I make before everybody else sees it publicly. So there's a lot of benefits. So if you aren't a member, I'm imploring you to become a member, because you're missing out. Honestly, you're missing out on the features. You're missing out on all the things that's possible. So there's something going on right now. If we get 5 super chats, there'll be a shirt giveaway. I've been meaning to do that giveaway, but the funds haven't really been coming in. So I'm imploring you to do so. It will go a long way. So definitely do that. So we've lost Bobby. We've hit the 2-hour mark as well. But Enzo Fernández is the last player I want to speak about, and then I think we can wrap up after that. So Enzo Fernández,
Hi, before you go on to Enzo, I just wanted to dial back on Estevao. I just want to mention one thing, and I was hoping Bobby would be here, would hear this. Um, but just to kind of go over it, he said, we shouldn't rely on Estevao. He's young, and we shouldn't put too much pressure on him. But what's happening is there's a shift now in the fan base that's slowly forming. A lot of the fans already see Estevao as a starter. They want him involved in every game already because it feels like the way the football, the way the owners have the way the club's being run, the model of the system. It's really it doesn't give us it doesn't give the fans any space to kind of give youngsters time to develop. The moment they come in, it's like, hey, you're the best player we have. Please save us. Like that's the mindset in every game, and you don't really you don't see this in big clubs like Man City because they have so many really good players, and then you have Man United, Arsenal. They have a lot of different talents, different good players. That can always impact games. They can rely on. Hey, get so and so off the bench, let him come on, let him be impactful, etc. But with Chelsea, it's like, okay, we only have Estevao, who is really performing right now, and he's the only one that seems to be doing anything progressively. He's able to create. He's able to do all these things a natural winger should be doing in their prime. And Estevao is not even in his prime. He's still a child. But because we have no we don't have that caliber of talent except Palmer. We have no choice but to rely on the young boy. So Bob isn't surprised when fans critique Estevao or already expect too much from him, or just how Chelsea fans get overly negative. Just online, they're always on. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Palmer. They'll always critique. So in a way, we're being forced to kind of change how we see players. Really, young, old, it doesn't matter. The expectation is already there, and Chelsea have to always win games. We cannot lose. It's we. I don't know. I think we all allergic to losing. So there's no way. There's no way you can lose. As a Chelsea coach, and just enjoy your life the next day. Fans will always come at you. They will come to your house. They'll be outside. So it's like we have to win. This is the game. We're playing a big game. It doesn't matter if it's Leeds, Bournemouth. It can be Watford. It doesn't matter. A win must. And honestly, when I look at this Chelsea team and I look at the players we have and the caliber and the talent, I'm looking at Estevao. Really, I don't see anyone else. I don't see Neto as a maverick player who's gonna help us get to where we need to go. João Pedro, not a maverick, reliable player. Enzo, no, he's not maverick. He's not the maverick player. He's not Bruno Fernandez. He's not that kind of player. Even though they play different positions, I just mentioned Bruno because of he's a maverick for Man United. He's reliable. He's their go-to. He has to play every game. For them to win, he has to play. So and I feel like Estevao is kind of he already is that. He has to basically play for Chelsea to win games now. That's the type of, I don't know if you're getting the same feeling, but that's what I'm feeling right now. That's what I'm thinking right now. When I look at this team and how we played the previous 10 games, it's like, bring on Estevao, bring him on. He will do something. He's gonna get us, this and this and this. Because Garnacho and all these other players are not there. They're not cutting it for us. So unfortunately, Estevao, he's gonna have to deal with the pressure. He's young, but the expectations are already on him, and I hope he never his form never drops. I hope he continues going upward and just saving us, because I feel like the way this ownership is going, it looks like we've become some kind of a development club. And I hate saying it, but we get nothing but youngsters. We get inexperienced young kids. That's the model. So and that's what a development club does. They get young kids. They develop them because that's the aim, and then they sell them for a good price. It's like I don't know. The best example I can think of is maybe a stock exchange. You buy a stock when it's low, or when it's nourishing and there's potential in it. You buy it for a small price, and then boom, once it goes up, you sell it, and you profit. That's what I feel like we've become. This club has become. These owners have turned this club to basically become. So yeah, and that's the only thing I wanted to touch on Estevao. I hope he starts against who would we play next? Our next game. Who's the next team we play?
In the Champions League, it's going to be Napoli. We play Napoli for the last game.
Right.
Last game for the league phase. And if we win it, we get guaranteed top 8. If we don't, then we'd have to hope that the teams are going to be playing at the same time as us, that are in close proximity to us, don't win. Because we would drop outside of the top 8 and have to go to the playoffs. So we have to hope we win that game, which I'm backing the team to do so. But yeah, that's the key thing. And I understand what you're saying about Estevao, William. In all honesty, I do. But as Bobby said, we have to remember that he's a young player, and when you do have players who are young or inexperienced, it's going to be a case where you're going to depending on another young player. So Garnacho is young, as I said. Garnacho is 21. He's not 24, 25. He's young. He's a player that's still learning. He's not even reached the peak of what a player can achieve. But because we've had players like a Yamal, or we have players like an Mbappe who at that age was ripping up trees and doing all these things, winning the World Cup and doing all of that, it presented this sort of facade that you must deliver at this age. But we need to remember that certain players are different players hit their best form at different age. So not because one player did this means that it's supposed to be a collective sort of situation where everybody's supposed to be hitting their highest level at that same age. But as I said, Chelsea fans are spoiled. I think a lot of Chelsea fans are spoiled because they're used to when things get hard, we just replace them with another player, and that's not how football works. Or at least not a team that wants to build consistency. And I get what you mean about just signing young players, but it's not Chelsea's not the only club doing it. If anything, Chelsea's being a blueprint, no pun intended, or a benchmark in that aspect. So Blue Line Chelsea has asked a question, but I want to just play this my little intro for a little break in between so that we can come back, and then I'll just let him, I'll bring up what he said and then we can address what he said there. So just bear with me, I'll be right back. Right, so this is what Blue Line Chelsea has asked. So it says, what does I don't know, he keeps saying MD, but what does MD think of Liam? Is he happy with the appointment, or does he feel Liam may not yet be ready for a role of this size? So what do you have to say to this?
Is this I'm assuming this is maybe towards Bobby or me. I'll just answer and say, I think I can see what Liam is doing. Liam Rezenier. How do you pronounce his other name? Rezenier,
Rosenia, whatever.
Rosenia?
Just say Liam.
Liam, I can already see the blueprint. I can see what he's trying to do. It's very similar when you look at the nuance of his tactics and what he wants his players to do. It's basically a copy paste of Maresca's tactics. I know you have your own take on Maresca, and how his formations and tactics work. But this is basically the same exact thing. There's barely any difference. Maybe it's intentional, and he wants to kind of use what the players are used to already, and then maybe implement his own philosophy later on. He doesn't just want to do what Amorim did with United and just use forcefully just come in and just introduce a brand new way of playing and just immediately scrap everything, all whatever the players were kind of used to with the previous coach. I think he's being smart about it, and he's trying to kind of maybe infuse these tactics later on. And right now, I can't really say much because all I'm saying is Maresca ball. It's very similar. It's basically the same thing. He's making subs as well. The way the subs he's making, you could probably say, okay, it's very typical. Maresca has done this before. Straight swap, winger for winger, DM, midfielders, Cucurella for Hato. It's not much the substance to really go about because I haven't seen anything from him. But he's winning games, and he's encouraging the players, and I think this is his third win, right, since he took over. So he's on a winning run already, and I think the players
Fourth win actually, fourth win.
was a fourth win. So
Yeah.
I think the players like him. They seem to be, when you wanna kind of tell if the players like the coach is their body language, and I'm looking at their body language. Except Neto, he's always huffing, puffing. He's never really with Neto. It's a question mark. He doesn't even have the Chelsea at on his Instagram account. I'm like, why don't you not have the Chelsea account to show that you play for Chelsea? I think his account, I don't know, he took it off. I don't know what it is. But with Neto, it's a question mark. His body language is always negative. But the other players, the past 4 games, it's been positive. Everyone, they're giving their best. They're making runs. They seem to be on it. So they're playing for him. So I think they like him. They're adapting. They're changing with his antics and everything else. But I think we need to give Liam maybe at least until maybe the end of the season. See what he does with the team. What do we win? What do we like? If I were maybe the owners of the club, I would probably expect a trophy this season from him. Maybe the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, either one. I don't think he's gonna win us the Champions League. I think with the squad we have and the teams we have to play, I don't think so. I don't see it with him. Regardless of what tactics he uses, it doesn't really matter because because of the players we have, I just don't see them getting us there. The depth it's not really strong enough. We don't have a strong depth. Our defenders.
I'm gonna pose a challenge to you. I'm gonna pose a challenge because I want you to think now. And there's something that you said that when you said it rubbed me the wrong way because I'm saying exactly like Maresca. Because it's not you can see the similarities, and even with people that I've talked to, and this is where I'm going to promote my own video again. But this is my channel, so I'm promoting myself on my own channel. I did a whole video on what he's done, and it's nothing. The fundamental of it is completely different because and one there's 2 things that I can use to debunk that it's not exactly like Maresca football. Maresca told the goalkeepers on numerous occasions that if they pass the ball along, he's gonna drop them. With Rossinia's football, the goalkeepers is a part of the build-up. They are like a playmaker. You can say the goalkeepers are playmakers. They go long. With Maresca, it was all about short passes and making those passes. And if you go long, because we don't want to lose the ball. No, that's not what you see on the Rossini. Rossini is about taking risk, calculative risk. That's the term that I've always used. The second thing is very important. It is the way in which the ball is moved. It's not going back. You see some players do it, and you mentioned players like Neto, for example. And the reason why we see that is because it is still new in your minds. The third thing, and this is where the similarity is, I've said this to people that have asked me this, and I've even mentioned it here as well. The thing is, I would say in terms of coaches that we've had in the past, in terms of what Rosenio can remind you of, I would say he's a mixture of Pochettino and Maresca in terms of the working of inverted fullbacks, and of course utilizing players in the midfield or having players invert like a Kukurea. But what he doesn't rely on is the inverting of fullbacks, because we realize that he played three midfielders with somewhat of a double pivot of a Santos and a Caicedo, and then of course Enzo being the more advanced as usually is. And of course you have Estevao and you have a Neto and you have João Pedro, whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't say, I think that's very harsh to say that Rosenio is exactly like Maresca. But what I will say, and I like the way you're thinking, and this is where I'm going to pose this challenge to you. Don't you think that the reason why they got Rosenio is because they know that in terms of similarities, and considering the fact that the directors are key to who the coach would have been, that they pinpointed Rosenio as the ideal option to get to know into Strasbourg season. And speaking about Strasbourg, they're winning 2-0, I think, right now over Lille, or is it Lyon? I don't know who they're playing right now, but I know that they're winning 2-0 right now, if I'm not mistaken. Don't you think that the reason why they got him is because in terms of it being seamless, there's not much to change. The only thing that really changes and the key difference is the goalkeeper having to be a part of the build-up, playmaking, going back to the goalkeeper, letting him pass out, because that's what you see. And you mentioned it yourself, Mighty, that the thing is you see that they go back to the goalkeeper and he has to build up from the back again. That is the key thing as well. So what do you think?
Sorry to cut you in, Ty, but we've seen it with Maresca building from the back and the goalkeeper basically being a fifth centre back, a third centre back, or a fifth defender. However you want to put it. We've seen Maresca ball, the build up from Sanchez, and then going back to Sanchez, and just the position has always been a key for Maresca, and it still is for this new coach too. I think you are right in the way the ball is moved. I haven't seen Sanchez hoof it the way how he hooves he's been hooving it with the old tactics. You pass it, like Chalaba would pass Sanchez, and Sanchez just he will look forward and just boom, just give away the position immediately. The players work so hard to get the position, and then they kind of pass it around themselves, and then it goes back to Sanchez, and you kind of want the aim is to kind of keep the ball recycled. But no, Sanchez, he would just kick it. He would just find the wingers. He would just kick it to Neto or Gittins or whoever is on the wings. And I haven't seen that. So you are right in that aspect. It's more just keeping the ball and just distribution based, really. So that's the only thing I like about this new way he's doing it. I like this right here. And but when it comes to going forward, progressively passes and touches and the tiki-taka of Pep, it's still noticeable here. Maresca ball is a lot of tiki-taka, and we've seen it. We've seen it with this coach, and it's basically the same. That's what I meant when I said it's kind of the same thing. It's a lot of give and go, and a lot of just the ball being in just triangles or squares, and very similar. Even the inverted fullbacks. I think that game in the previous game we played in Arsenal. Who did we play most recently?
Pafos.
Right. Didn't we? We had inverted. Who was inverted? Was it? I think Reese was playing midfield. And then was it Gusto on the?
We had that. Yeah. That was, and people complained about it too.
Right. So Maresca has done that too. He played Reese in midfield. He put him there multiple games. Nobody liked it, but we've seen it. That just recently, and I think Reese will continue to play there. And I don't know when the Gusto will be inverted, but I'm sure certain games Liam will try and invert. So yeah, it's a little similar to Maresca. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It doesn't give me a lot of substance. It doesn't give me much. I'm not seeing poach ball. I'm not seeing the lot of running. A lot of running with poach. It's just so much running, and just get the ball, just kick it. Basically, just pass it to the striker and just lose position, whatever, and then recycle. It was ugly. I don't know, poach ball. It was. I didn't like it. I guess that's why he didn't really last very long. We were just not winning games. But yeah, I'll probably give Liam a few more games. As long as we maintain top four and maybe get to maybe the semifinals of the Champions League and then get knocked out, doesn't really matter. We're never gonna win it. And then maybe if
No,
we
no, no,
lose,
no, 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 no. Easy Tiger, easy Tiger. Never coach against Chelsea. And one thing, and this is one thing I wanted, and not to cut you, but this is one thing that I really wanted to ask him, because I'm really puzzled as to why you'd say that. Um, and and probably this is where I'll get an understanding of what you have to say, because if Maresca could win the Club World Cup, facing off against Benfica, facing off against Palmeiras, Fluminense, Flamengo. Who else do we face off? We face off against some other teams, Club America, some American teams as well.
yeah, MLS, some MLS teams.
Yeah, MLS teams. So in terms of that, why would you call against Chelsea winning it when some of these players have already won the Club World Cup? Something that a lot of people glorify so heavily, which I don't really celebrate the Club World Cup as some big achievement that we've had. It's we won against PSG, but that's the only game that I could say that okay, I was blown out of my shoes. But even then, I wasn't too much, because I had a whole full blown conversation. I had a good brother of mine, Jerry, speak about it, and we had a long blown conversation about how we needed to beat them, and it was based on what we saw against PSG versus Real Madrid. And we did the exact same thing to them, press them and make them make mistakes, because that's how they beat Real Madrid in the semifinals, by causing them to make mistakes. So that is why would we not be able to win the Champions? I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League, but don't say that we will never win. No, I don't like that mentality, because we've done it with a strike, with an attack that was so unreliable. Havertz, Timo Werner, and Mason Mount. So why can we not do it? When we have these players who are well versed in terms of winning and scoring goals. Cole Palmer may not be a part of it right now because he's injured or he may need surgery. But you have James, who's well versed in winning the Champions League because he won the Champions League. You have players like Badia Shield who will always want to prove himself. You have these young players that are going to be hungry to win it. So don't say that we will never win it, because that's don't.
Let me come in. Let me come in. Let me land. So you think so? Let me tell you why we won the Club World Cup. The Club World Cup, when you compared our squad, our team to the teams we played, we were twice as we were basically 2 times better, player for player, and we played a lot of very average teams, very weak. The teams we were playing were the same caliber as the conference. When we were in the conference league, we played a lot of just average teams, low quality, just championship level teams. So those kind of games, you expect Chelsea to come up on top, and we won all of those games except the Flamengo. The Flamengo's that team. I think we lost to them 3-1 or something like that in the Club World Cup. But it was basically the same thing. We came off, or we had a great run from the Conference League, won it, and then we continued that form, and we brought that form to the Club World Cup, and we beat basically a lot of average teams until we got to Flamengo, who really, I don't know how they won, but football there's a lot of luck, and I think Sanchez was involved. I think there was a mistake there, here and there. But after that game, we played. Who was the next good team we played except Flamengo and Palmeiras? I think those were the only 2 really teams. Like really,
we played against Fluminense. I think Fluminense was very good because they were defended very well with Silva in the back line.
No, we lost to them. Fluminense.
No, we beat Fluminense because that was when João Pedro scored.
Which team did we?
We only lost one game. We only lost to Flamengo. We won every other game.
Okay, yeah, Flamengo. That's the one I was trying to mention.
Yeah,
So
Flamengo, yeah.
Flamengo, and they're the only ones we lost to. And then we played Palmeiras, and I think Gusto scored the second goal. Very luckily, we didn't even play very well in that game. If you look at the ratings, if you look at the positions and the corners, etc., we did not perform that game. And then then came the final with PSG, and really, I want people to forget to mention this. Palma was basically carrying us that game. He was the only thing we had going for us. He scored both goals, 2 goals, and assisted João Pedro. And then after that, we didn't do anything else. We played well. Ty, hold on, let me finish it, Ty.
No, I'm applauding you. I'm applauding you because I agree with what you just said, because that is what I've been saying for months, that I saw nothing. And I mentioned it a while ago. And not to cut you, I'm not going to quickly say this. The thing is, I said this. We scored those 3 goals and then we disappeared. We didn't do anything in the second half. Is that we won it in the first half, and that was it. So that is, I agree with you, and that's why I don't give Maresca credit for that final, because I didn't see anything that said that, okay, this was Maresca's tactic. He told the team to press. No, I don't see. It
wasn't tactics.
What's the name? Mendes made a mistake. He missed the ball completely, and Gusto just running behind. That is not tactical. That's an error that a player made. That is like saying that, okay, I'm not going to downplay what Manchester United did against Arsenal today, but that is like saying that, oh, it's because of the press that Manchester United had, that Zubimendi made that mistake and gave the ball right to Mbeumo. No, you can't say that. So that is why I don't give Maresca credit for that final, because I didn't see anything. And if it was a case where we followed it up by beating the low block teams or beating the other teams, and I say, okay, this is a fundamental that he knows what to do. But it's always against a Barcelona. And you don't need to tell players these things. And that is another difference between Rosselló and Maresca. Maresca tells these players and guides them. Rosselló lets you make mistakes, and it's like a Tuchel, like he puts you in situations where you have to find your way out of them. He doesn't tell you what to do. So that's the thing. Go on.
Yeah. And he also, I like the way he Liam here, Rosanira, he applauds them. Like when they do something, he just claps. Like good. Like he's encouraging. That's the only thing I like about. Well, some of the attributes he gives off is that, and I like that. He likes to encourage them, go, like push, and he talks to them like mature, like established players instead of like children. They're not children. They might be young, but they're not children. Maresca, he was treating them like kids. He's like, oh, they're this. No, they're mature.
They're too young. They're inexperienced. They can't do anything.
Yeah, he usually would make a lot of those excuses, and I think coach from Chelsea perspective, he mentioned it's like, okay, Maresca did all this because he wasn't getting the right players, and he was asking for experience and etc. Come on, that feels like you want him to stay longer so he can he can get he can be backed and maybe get some of these players out the door. But yeah, going back to the PSG final, I think Parma was really the only thing. I think if Parma didn't play that
Conference
game,
League as well.
Oh yes, he came. Him and Moises and all the more experienced players came. They played in the finals and the later games, and they basically carried us all the way through. But yeah, and then what happened after that PSG game? We played the champion. I think it was Bayern Munich, a very strong top
Oh
team.
my gosh!
We played them.
You're in my brain, because I spoke to my good friend Jerry, and I said this exact same thing after the final. When we played against Bayern Munich, because if you remember, because we lost to Flamengo, we ended up facing Benfica instead of Bayern Munich. And I'm gonna let you finish your sentence, because I know you what you're gonna say. So go on.
Right. And then we played Bayern, and we got schooled. We made silly errors, man. Gusto is just rubbish errors, and then Sanchez twice, I think he made mistakes. All of the goals they scored were self-inflicted. The team closed it. Like we just said, okay, here, take the ball from us and score. Like Bayern didn't score from open play. they scored from our own mistakes, and sometimes Chelsea fans they refuse to see it. You have to look at how goals are scored. You can't just say, okay, today we won, we beat Crystal Palace. But you have to look at how the goals were scored. How did they? Was it open play? Was it through a compressing a low block and just creativity coming through? How did we score? How did we win? How did the goals come about? If it's mistakes from the opposition team, if it's penalties, if it's handballs, if it's red cards, you can it's a positive, it's good. You won. The opposition did all the things on their own. So from outside window perspective, you could say, okay, it's good, positive. But with someone like me, I would probably look at how it has gone down, and is it legitimate? Is the win legitimate? Is it even real? Is it paper over cracks? Right? Because we see teams we see Liverpool, we've seen United. They win games, but they playing really badly. The way they play is horrible, but they're winning games. And as long as you're winning, fans are happy. But then when you lose games, it's like, oh, this player is terrible. This player is bad. Coach needs to go out. No, you should have seen these mistakes. You should have seen them when you were winning, when the team was winning. And a lot of times with Maresca, you win one game, then you draw the other one. It's like, hey, this was gonna happen. Like, did you not see the other game we won? But look, Neto was just terrible. And I don't know. I've been on Neto's case for the whole stream today, but I think he needs. I feel like we need to upgrade on Neto. We need to find better wingers. But going back to Maresca and Liam, some similarities are there, but also Liam is also different. He's bringing a new style. He's gonna bring his own ideas. I heard he's bringing back is it Mudryk and who else? Sterling. He wants to work with them. I think that's a mistake. I don't know how you feel about it. But if he keeps going in this direction and does not really try and resurrect the dead, I think I'll be happy. I hope they back him. I hope they give him the praise he wants. There's a new striker we're linked with. I don't know his name, but I can't pronounce it. He's I think he's from what team is it? But he's coming in. Apparently, they're trying to. Is it? And then there's a defender center back that's supposed to come in.
Jackie.
Right, him. But I hope they back him. I hope they give him the players he wants and not control. I've been hearing these owners, they want to control the coaches and kind of interfere with a lot of these
Which
demands.
striker you're looking for? Like, what's the name?
He's I can't think. I'll probably
Which
find him
club?
when I don't know the club, but
Is it Bundesliga? Is it League One?
I think it's maybe in the French league, League One.
Amigo.
Is it? Yeah, I think that's him. Yep.
Emega from Strasbourg.
Strasbourg. I think that's the guy with right now. He's hot. I don't know if he's good. I haven't seen his highlights, but you never want to look at the highlights. You want to look at number.
I've got you covered. I'm working on a video on him, so you can always just wait for that video. I'm going to do a video on Emega because he worked with Rossini actually. So perfect. There was something that said that he threw a bottle at him. I don't know if that was true. There was some weird rumor coming out. But anyways, welcome, my boss. This is the first time you've been on Chelsea sessions. I wonder what got into you. What got into you today? I can't talk. That encouraged you to join. But welcome. How are you doing?
Big up Ty. Big up Mighty. Everyone in the chat. Yeah, I'm happy with the 3-1 win against Crystal Palace. We needed that win. We finally won against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. That's what we needed.
So Mambas, what do you have to say about what Mighty said about the likes of Mudryk and Sterling and the potential of us, probably seeing the likes of Neto leaving? What do you have to say about that?
Mighty said that we need good wingers in the team, which I agree. We need proper wingers. We haven't had proper wingers since Hazard left.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
I wanted Semenyo at Chelsea.
Oh
Should have
yes,
signed him,
100%.
but
Oh
he
my
chose
God.
Man City over us.
Yeah.
Sad, but it is what it is. We move.
Yeah.
But can we be surprised though that he chose Man City over us? Who's surprised?
A little bit.
They offered him, I think, better terms.
Yeah,
And
Man City
also,
offered better terms. Yeah.
and then also, I think these owners don't really spend. They don't want to spend as lucratively as Man
That's
City.
because of UEFA restrictions. That's why.
That's probably why. So I don't think we'll see any of the like the like the Rafa Leaos and these
Osimhen, Kvara,
yeah,
Kvaratskhelia, yeah.
like this type of highly
Magnan as well.
right. A lot of these players, I don't think will be in contention for them. I think we will lose every time we go into the transfer window to try and negotiate and maybe beat another team for those kind of players. I think we lose. I think these owners, these sporting directors, they will pull out. They have a weak pull-out game, and
Yep, 100%.
it's been happening. So since they took over, they've been shying away from
For 3
signing.
seasons, they've been doing it.
Right, and I think the only way really is forward is we hope they sign some youngster that's really good like Estevao, and maybe they also bang and kind of help us go forward. What's the new guy? Quandra. Quanda. He's
Spawn
good.
husband winger. Yep.
He's really good. I like him. He looks really good. I don't know if he can play on the right.
He can actually. He's a right winger.
Can he play on the left?
He can play as a we call it a wing back as well.
Yep, wing back.
He
played on the Amrum.
Oh, that's good. He played for the Sport. I guess he plays for that team still. Sporting.
No, yeah, he's at Sporting now.
Right. And is he versatile enough to play on the left?
Yes, he can. He can. He can play on either side. I mean, everybody can. He has 2 feet, doesn't he?
Right.
Nah, he's left-footed.
I know some players are they prefer one position to the other. So
as I tell you, players these days are going to want to be versatile because competition will be high, so they don't want to be limited to one side. So and he can play as a wing back as well. So and that's of course as Mabas said because of the whole Amram situation and the three at the back, and you have to play as a. I'll ask you a question, Mighty. I don't want to ask you publicly.
Right.
In the private chat. So you can reply in the private chat to the question I asked you, Mighty. But yeah, Mabas, what do you have to say?
What
do you have to say about the you gave a 1 cent you say it like it's a short answer question on an exam. You're saying you're grateful for you're happy for the result, but what do you think about the performance overall, the first half in comparison to the second half? What did you see differently?
The second half was different to the first half. We started getting more opportunities, creating chances, etc.
Okay. All right. So fair enough.
I'm happy we scored.
Okay. All right. I see. Okay, cool, Mighty.
João Pedro with left foot. Good goal.
What do you guys think of you guys rate Mudryk? What do you guys think of Mudryk? Abbas, you can go first.
Mudryk is not bad. He was meant to become the next big player, but sad. It is what it is.
How about you, Ty?
Yeah, I think he's not a bad player, and I think the ban was he came at a very unfortunate time. He was scoring at that time, and I think that is why people were saying that but it was at the same time it was inconsistent. And I remember the mainstream people they were making a joke out of it to say that even he wasn't what I'm talking about, but he was still not, he wasn't really doing that excellent. So they're saying that what was he even doing in terms of that. But anyways, he's not a bad player. I think one of the biggest issues and one
consistency.
Consistency was the issue. But there's also a thing that I don't think many people have considered. He was coming from the Russian league. The Russian league,
Ukrainian.
the Rush, whatever league it is. You know what I mean?
Ukraine League, yeah.
He was at
Ukrainian,
Shakhtar
yeah.
Donetsk.
But I'm saying that in terms of there was a break in the season as well. The season had ended. I remember what it was. So he hadn't
The
played
winter
until
break.
November when he first came in. So he was about coming back from that rustiness. And of course, it was a case where we only had players we didn't have anybody else but those players. So he didn't even get the time to really adapt to the league the way that he should have. And that's always the case with these players. They always get rushed in because we don't have anybody else to play. But the thing with Estevao, and he's probably changed that trend of throwing players into the deep end because we have nobody else to really rely on, is that in terms of the way in which we get these players coming in, he didn't really get the chance to really bed in, get the chance to adapt. It was always just it's either him or no one because we didn't have anybody else. Sterling at that time was having a hard time. And then I can't think of anybody else really that was really there. We had Jackson. What was there? I don't remember the option we had back then. But essentially, he was really doing good. Palmer was there as well. I'm saying my boss. Blue Line Chelsea saying that his goal versus Arsenal was memorable. Yeah, that was a
100%. That goal on his left foot. Wow.
I don't know if he meant it or not. I don't know if it was a cross. I don't know because he probably did because Raya was.
It was between goal and a cross.
Right, man. It was over. It was. Man. Sometimes the potential was there. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I would. Sorry.
Hello.
Are you not hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Just asking a question.
Yeah, go on.
What is Enzo Fernandez's best position? Be honest.
That's a sticky one. You know.
I think he's an. I think Art. I would say he's an 8. And I mean that's what he's been utilized.
For me, in my opinion, I'm gonna say between 8 and a 10.
Yeah, so he's like he reminds me of a Mason Mount type of player where it's not a set role. It's a case where he can probably try to help you with it. The only thing is that he's not a runner like or a presser per se like a Mason Mount. He tries, but he's not the most physical player. I know your best friend and coach would probably say that he is physical. That it's just that we don't see him be physical enough. But I don't in this game. I think he was bullied off the ball in this game. So I said, if you're physical and you get bullied off the ball like that, I don't know. I don't want to see when you're not physical then because
Enzo Fernandez is not 6.
Like that, then go on.
Enzo Fernandez is not a 6. He's not a holding midfielder.
No, he's not.
He's not a destroyer.
And that's the thing because for people who watched the World Cup the right way, I looked at what he did for Argentina. You realize that he had the freedom because he had the likes. So what's that guy's name? He had the Paul and he had what's the guy at Liverpool's name?
Paredes, no, not Paredes. McAllister.
Yeah, and he had somebody else as well as you mentioned.
McAllister, Paredes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Ezequiel Palacios, the Bayer Leverkusen midfielder.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not that type of player. He's not a 6. That is why I'm never using.
He's not a holding midfielder, not a 6, not a destroyer.
Not a 6 holding midfielder.
Enzo Fernandez is a deep line playmaker.
Yeah, thank you.
Like Jorginho, for example.
My boss. I introduced this before and I have to do it again. This is what you deserve this.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And this is the thing. And this is the thing with Enzo Fernandez as well. And I keep mentioning this. And maybe it was Jorginho who wanted to leave. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. But I think we needed him to have stayed because I think he was just thrown into the deep end. Like as I said, when new players come in, we don't have anybody else to really make it easy for them. The only players we had at that time when he came in 2020, I think it was 2023. Was it January 2023? Yeah.
It was 2 years ago. No,
yeah.
I think it was 3 years ago.
When we signed him. Probably almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's been 3 years now.
Yeah, Jorginho
left
left
very quick.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's 3 years already.
Jorginho left.
Jorginho left. I think days before we went all the way down to the wire. I think it was a case where it was right before the deadline, right before midnight. I think it was, and it was done. It got done right at the last part. Yeah, January 31st. And that's the thing. I feel as if Jorginho had stayed just until the summer, it would have been better because he is a deep line playmaker, as you said. Jorginho, 100%. He controls the tempo. He can control the part, and he has a passing lane. He's like a Fabregas. I've always said that he's not the quickest like Fabregas. He wasn't the quickest player, but when you see that, you're able to see that level of consistency from him. But there's one thing that I think a lot of people are hypocrites about, because I remember when Pochettino was using him as a quote unquote 10, as they said, and Maresca did it, and Maresca was being glorified for it. But when Pochettino did it, he was, oh no, why are you playing more the position? Stop playing more the position. But when Maresca did it was playing more the position, garbage. But anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that. Go on. Big up T Jordan. Big up. I thought you were saying something, Mambas. Big up T Jordan. Well, let me see what Blue Line shows he's saying here. But in 2023 to 24 season, everyone has major issues with him playing as a 10. Thank you very much. I didn't even see a comment. So we're saying the same thing. Blue Line Chelsea about it, the hypocrisy. That when he was playing as a 10, it was the worst thing on the Pochettino. Why is he playing him as a 10? And no. And that's what, and I think I made this tweet on X, and I think Tobago replied to it and said that Maresca has set the foundation, just like how Pochettino set the foundation for Maresca, for Rosenio. So that's the thing, because you're able to see that the application of the certain players is exactly what Maresca did. And Maresca came out and said it, that he watched the games, which I don't think he actually did. I think he was just trying to make face, trying to appease the fans by saying he watched all the games, because if he did, he would not miss profile some of the players. Go on, Navas.
Why did Maresca sign KDH?
Why did he sign KDH?
Keenan Dewsbury.
No, I know you're talking. I'm asking if you said why did he?
Yeah. Why did he sign him?
I'm wondering if he signed him because it was a player that understood his system the best. And he wanted somebody who would help to make it be seamless. The problem was Dewsbury Hall I think Dewsbury Hall needed more time. I think Dewsbury Hall had a very unfortunate time at Chelsea.
I think the problem was that lack of game time.
Yeah,
was the problem.
And that's his problem. So I think it was an unnecessary signing in terms of
the signing didn't make sense. 30 million didn't make sense.
And I'm happy he's doing well at Everton. I think it is. So, but
Maresca was bought KDH to be his cup of tea.
Yeah.
Or serve coffee and tea to the players and give them sugar.
I'm going to have to use this, man. I'm using this one. Yeah, man. I mean, but yeah, it's funny, man. It was an unnecessary signing.
Yeah, needless, unnecessary signing.
Yeah. Okay, so we've lost Maitino. I don't know if he sent a message and I didn't see it. Probably he did. He said he'd be right back. He said be right back. Oh yeah, Remy. I see you asking the private chat.
Oh Remy. Yeah, Lord Remy. He was brought in as a third choice striker, second choice.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
something like that. He was sometimes third choice, sometimes second choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. And if you had joined earlier, this was what Bobby said. Bobby mentioned the fact that there's this warp thinking that we didn't need three strikers, and now it looks like we've seen the proof that we did, because we don't. Especially when Delap was injured, we didn't have anybody else, and Gu wasn't playing. And listen, I don't really go back to speak about Maresca, because every time I think about Maresca's time, it just pisses me off, because there's certain players that we didn't get game time, and there was no grounds for them not getting game time. Boanotti, for example, not getting game time.
Yeah.
Hato. It was and Hato, and why was Hato not playing? It was garbage. I need to say that we need a centre back. We literally had Josh Atching, not even Josh Atchington wasn't getting game time. He's the most versatile player that we had, and we didn't even use him. He could play as a centre back, right back, and we didn't even use him. Hato, centre back, left back, he wasn't being utilized. And you're gonna complain that you don't have a centre back and you're not utilizing the players that you have. Nah, I can't have any sympathy for you. But anyways, I don't go back to. I'm not going to talk about Maresca because I'm too pissed.
The reason why we lost to Bayern Munich 2-1. I think it was 2-1.
3-1,
something like that.
We lost
3-1. The reason why we lost 3-1 to Bayern Munich, not because of lack of physicality. No, the reason why we lost 3-1 to them is because of individual mistakes costed us. That was the reason.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So So, and that is why and before you came on, me and my team was talking about the fact that I don't really give Maresca credit for that Club World Cup final, because I don't believe that if we had faced off against Bayern Munich, instead of Benfica, we would have gotten past Bayern Munich, because and the thing is, when they lost their game as well, it was a situation where they rested their players because they were fatigued. We have to think about the fact that and it wasn't a fully blown Bayern Munich team that lost that game that made them in.
Ty was on Coachilla's stream when he said lack of physicality, this and that. Yeah,
right. So
another other day, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous, and I remember saying that. And this I'm saying was mistakes, and I'm saying that this is where the inconsistency is, because we won against PSG because they made mistakes as well. That the first goal, for example, when Gusto ran in behind, I think Mendes was trying to head the ball, and the ball goes over his head. He jumps to head it, and it goes over his head, and Gusto runs in behind, and then he makes the pass to Cole Palmer just shoots.
Yep.
I think the two goals were very I think all three goals were similar. He literally just tucking in and just close the ball beyond Donnarumma and then making the pass to João Pedro for his goal. And then we didn't do anything in the second half. So I don't think it was anything to do with Maresca. And then, as I said, when we faced off against Bayern Munich, the team that we should have faced off in the Club World Cup, but because we lost to Flamengo, we ended up facing the Benfica instead, who ended up topping their group instead. We finished second, they finished first. It was a case where we saw that the mistakes, and we couldn't handle the way they were moving, and there was some physicality issues as well. So I wouldn't say we lost. We didn't lose because of some of the mistakes were caused because of the lack of physicality that we had, but it was also mistakes. It was self-inflicted. We were our worst enemy in that game. So it wasn't that Bayern Munich was just that good, but they were that good at rattling us and making us.
And Jackson nearly shamelessly scored against us from long range. Literally.
Man, that was hilarious, man. I don't know. So what do you think about Jackson leaving, by the way, my boss?
I hope he doesn't leave. I mean, Liam Rosenior, in football, you never know. Liam Rosenior might give him a chance.
Yeah, look at Rudiger. Lampard, he was exiled. Under Lampard, Rudiger was exiled, and then what happened?
Not him. Tuchel was not Tuchel. Alonso. Sorry.
Yeah, Alonso as well. Yeah, 100%. Alonso. Yeah, it was just Chilwell.
Lampard preferred Emerson Palmieri.
And him. As left back. Yeah. And I mean, all three of them ended up being beneficial, because I remember Emerson scored against Atletico Madrid. For Tuchel. I remember that when Silva wasn't able to play, and he was in the stands and he was running and he jumped, and I don't remember who was in the stands with him, and he was jumping up and he almost fell as well.
Oh, by the way, what happened to Emerson Palmieri? What happened to him?
I think I remember was it Austin? No, where did he go? I think when he went
he's
to
in
West
Marseille
Ham.
now.
Yeah, probably. I think that I don't. Why did he leave? Let me.
I think Emerson Palmieri wanted to leave. He wanted first in football.
I mean, yeah, and the thing is, I think he had an honorable career as well, man. Because I think he had a lot of potential. Yeah, he's at Marseille. He's had 3 assists.
He's playing on the Zerbi.
Yeah, and the Zerbi is using him well. So yeah, man. Let me see what Blue Line Chelsea is saying here.
Big up to Blue Line, man. Big up to him.
Says we were. Where's this? We were what? Okay, we were what?
Often
too passive and overly. I don't know. My thing is too small now. I have to go in full screen. We were often too passive and overly pragmatic on the Maresca, and teams sitting in a low block consistently causes.
100%.
Yeah, man.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's the case. You know.
I can address why that's happening. Do you know why we have problems with low blocks?
Why?
I think it comes down to it narrows down to
lack of space.
Not lack of space, but lack of high IQ, midfielders. We don't have. When it comes to creativity, we don't have creativity in this team.
Exactly, man.
If Palmer is not creating something out of nothing, or if he's out of form, or if he's injured, or if he's out of the team, we struggle. We will struggle on losing games. Enzo tries to be creative, but he's always too late. His reactions are always
Yeah,
a bit late. He's very
his reaction
slow.
time is not good.
It's not
You know what I
good,
mean?
and that's why Poch, he tried to play him in the 10 position. He struggled. He couldn't do it. Who else tried to play him in the 10 position? I think Potta tried it. We've
That's
seen
it.
Enzo in those positions. He can't do it. It's not for him. The league is too fast. Maybe in La
Yeah.
Liga or something else, he would probably
La
be
Liga,
good in that
Liga,
position. Yeah, League One,
etc.
MLS. But the Premier League is too fast. His
Yeah, it's
reaction
too
time.
fast, too physical.
His reaction
like
time
Serie A.
his reaction time is it's very slow, and he's a slow player. He's a very leggy when he runs, when he receives the ball. It takes time. It's always like, come on, man, make the pass faster. That's my frustration with Enzo. A lot of times it's slowness. It's very slow.
Casado's not a creator. Casado is a what's.
He's more of a Kante. Kante,
Yeah.
he was not a creator. He didn't create nothing.
I would say he's more of a box-to-box ball winning midfielder. That's what Kante was.
He's a refurbished Gallagher.
Yeah.
No, that's a terrible comparison. Not Gallagher. I would say maybe Kante is the only one I can compare him with in
for
terms
me-
of quality.
I have to.
For me, I would
I'm
listen.
sorry. I have to play this again.
Listen,
He's a Gallagher. He's a
listen.
Gallagher. Oh my god.
Not Gallagher. I think Kante.
Yo, listen. Hello.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Listen,
It doesn't
let
stop.
me make my point.
Go ahead. finish
Casado
it.
for me. Hello.
Go on.
Casado for me, I would compare him to Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Between Ramirez or Morales, one of those two.
Not Ramirez for me. No, Ramirez was a high IQ midfielder. Very
Ramirez
creative,
was very fast.
very fast and
I would compare him
dynamic.
to Raul Morales when we had him, the Portuguese midfielder.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare to Ramirez. I think Kante or Matic.
Kante or Matic.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Man.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare him to Ramirez or Fabregas or any of the creative
What about
midfielders
Romeo
we had.
Lavia?
Romeo Lavia, I think we should sell
Oh my
him.
god! Why did you guys not tell me that Strasbourg is trashing Lille 4-0 right now? Oh my
Wow.
word!
Are you watching them?
No, because I'm following them on live score. It tells me when a goal has been scored. So Strasbourg are leading 4-0. Gary O'Neill. Wow, I didn't know your game.
Gary
Gary O'Neill
wow.
was garbage. But it looks like he's another company like a Burnley. He's doing way good at Strasbourg. I mean, it's Strasbourg. Strasbourg has a very good
He did
team.
well at Bournemouth, did decent at
4-0
Wolves.
over Lille. Wow.
Right.
Go on. Sorry, my bad for cutting you, man. Go on.
Gary O'Neill did a very good job at Bournemouth, did decent at Wolves.
Decent is kind of a stretch. I mean, they were in the relegation, so
Yeah, but he's 7th from relegation.
Fair enough. But yeah,
What
man.
I was gonna say Lavia for me, I would compare him to Essien.
Yeah, Asian, probably you could say so. Asian. Didn't Asian play a little more? I think he played. Was it Cam? Was he a Cam?
No, Essien was
DM.
a CDM.
Defensive midfielder. Right. Okay. Yeah. You could say so. But
Gusto for me,
right.
I would compare him to Bosingwa. Remember we had Bosingwa, the right back.
Yeah. I remember Bosingwa.
I would compare him to that because both like to overlap. Both like to bomb down the right.
Yeah, but with Lavia, I think you probably sell him. I don't think you can sell a player who's injured, and it's a loss selling a player that's injury prone and never available. But I think cut the losses, send him off to Strasbourg or whatever.
Strasbourg or Serie A, Italy would be good for him. Most of the time on the ball, less physical league.
Yeah, non-physical league. He can probably be a DM there, or he can probably even play a more advanced role. Yeah, I would say him, Mudryk, Sterling. These guys. I don't think they're for
but
the
Sterling
future.
doesn't want to leave London. He wants to stay in London.
Right. But once his
Like
contract,
a team like Crystal Palace or Brentford, Fulham, one of those teams would be good for Sterling.
right. But yeah, Sterling doesn't really matter. He's on all. He's on. His wages are crazy. But
I
yeah,
know.
to me,
For 300K
I
a
don't care. These guys are not in the Chelsea future.
Mm.
Get rid of them.
Yeah,
Sell,
exactly, man.
loan.
Look
I
at
don't
what
care.
Arsenal did. They got rid of Nicholas Pepe, Ozil, Kolasinac, Holding, Mustafi, David Luiz, etc. Look at those.
And that's
For
when they
example.
that's when Arteta came in, and that's when he started his project. That's
Yeah,
for him
Arteta got
to
rid of all the deadwood.
Deadwood for
Klopp
him
did the
to
same thing at Liverpool,
right. Yeah.
Pep at Man
So
City.
and it took Klopp 4 years, I think
Wow.
4 years to win the Premier League.
No,
I
it
think
was
we
5.
are on the 5th year.
5.
5 years?
Yeah, 5 years to win the league, 4 years to win his first trophy with Liverpool, which was the UCL 2019.
Listen, to me, I have no patience to wait that long, you know. I think all of us are the same in a way. We don't want to wait.
Even Real
for
Madrid
these,
doesn't do wait.
but that's what they want. Like a lot of the fans, you know, like Coach, you know, you've been on the Chelsea perspective, right?
Coachella, yeah, I know him.
Coachella, right?
That's
Him
the
and the
legend.
panel he has on, and Bobby, they are okay with this, with what's going on. You know, no, I'm not saying okay, but like they've when you talk to them, it's like okay, so they've basically made peace with the situation we're in. Like they've said, okay, this is what it is, and we can't do nothing about it. They've kind of given up in a way. You know, it's like okay, it is what it is, and we just watch the team struggle and constantly struggle to get top 4 and just
Mighty, let me ask you a question.
Right.
Well, what's your thoughts on the Douglas Luiz links?
Douglas Luiz, I've seen him. He, you know, in the Premier League.
With Aston Villa,
Aston Villa. I don't think he's the type of profile we need. He's not.
For me, I'll take him. Why not?
You'll take him, right? Because we have nothing in terms of.
And also because Douglas Luiz, he adds a lot more to his game than Saul did for Chelsea.
Way more. He's much better. But if we're gonna go
Douglas Luiz, he has over 100 Premier League appearances.
But you have to look at his numbers. I mean, assists. You know, I mean, what role did he play? He played in the 10, right?
No, he's a 6/8.
Did he ever play in the 10 position?
No, I don't think he has. Not even once.
Okay, so you have to think. Right. You have to compare numbers, because to me, when I watch him, I don't see a high caliber midfielder, like a
He's not
top
bad.
talent.
It's just his move to Juventus hasn't worked out. I completely understand. The environment is too toxic.
And that's Serie A, right? It's a low tier,
slow league, less physical.
Slow league,
much more time on the ball. Media doesn't talk crap about you.
Right. It's like very average looking. So how what do you think will happen when he comes here? It's gonna be, he's not gonna work out. He's not gonna be able to translate.
W should not have gone to Juventus. He should have gone to AC Milan or Inter Milan.
Right. All right, guys. Not to cut you, but we've gone way off topic, way off topic, right? Way off topic.
I'm just answering questions. Go ahead with the next question.
We can speak about Douglas Luiz, because that was the next thing I was going to speak about, actually. So this is a tweet that says, watching Chelsea this year, it seems to me that they lack one strong, hard-working midfielder like Douglas Luiz.
True.
Issue for Chelsea could be that Villa is interested also. Wasn't he at Aston Villa? I'm so confused.
Yep, he was.
Do we see Luiz in Chelsea? Thoughts, chat. So okay, so now we're back on topic indirectly, because I had to steer it back to being on topic by just bringing this up, because he just went off topic massively. Go on.
Not just Douglas Luiz, Ruben Neves as well too has been linked with the move.
What else is he linked with?
And the return for N'Golo Kante.
Well, N'Golo Kante is another one that's being discussed. I think N'Golo Kante's time at Chelsea should just be the way that it was before he left, in a very good way. I don't think we should risk him coming back and then staining that
ruin his reputation.
Yeah. And to be honest, what we're even talking about is he's not coming back. He's way over the age that they want to sign. So He's
Right.
almost 35. He's going to be 35 in March.
Mhm.
They ain't going to sign him.
Yep.
But yeah, man, we've been streaming for 3 hours. I didn't expect to stream for so long, but the conversation just kept going on and on and on and on.
Wow.
So the last thing I want us to talk about is because I don't think I'm going to get to do the Napoli, anything about Napoli. So what do you expect for the Napoli game? I think so. Starting with you, my boss, and then
I hope we smash Napoli.
my team.
I hope we beat them.
Mhm.
And not just that, I hope when Lukaku comes on, I hope we boo Lukaku when he comes on as a sub.
Yeah.
If you Chelsea fans don't boo him, then what are you doing?
Okay.
McTominay,
How
I
about you,
don't know
Mike?
about him.
Sorry. How about you, Mighty?
Given Napoli, I think we will probably draw a game because we'll probably see Garnacho on the wing, and then maybe Estevao will probably come off from the bench, on the other wing. But we'll probably see Delap or João Pedro. I have no idea what Liam is gonna give us in terms of a lineup, but I'm just gonna predict and kind of keep my expectations low. I don't want to say, we'll go and smash them, and then we end up not doing it. I want to say all those things because in my heart, like I'm like, go get the dub, get the win. But mentally, I'm thinking, I'm like, our defense is rubbish. Napoli are strong. They're in a good position at the moment in the Serie A table. They're very dominant. McTominay is
What about McTominay?
right. They have McTominay in midfield, and they have
Well, they lost today. Actually, Napoli lost 3-0 to Juventus today. Actually,
Did they?
Yeah, they lost 3-0.
Eh?
Yeah.
right. But that's they lost to a stronger team, a good team is who they lost to, not some average team.
Mm.
So you have to look at how they play, and we have to also look at ourselves in terms of what we have for them. Our defense: Sanchez, Badishele, Tosin, and Chalaba. I think it's too easy. It's too easy to get through that defense, and Lukaku or Højlund, Lukaku or Højlund, whoever plays between those two, they'll have they'll have no problem going through them. They'll have no problem with dribbling past Chalaba or whatever.
Or Badishile or Fofana.
Or Badishile or all of them. Really, it's too easy. So we have, if you look at our defensive record, it says we're really good. Like when you look at the chart, I think we're probably the second best, but it doesn't reflect what we see on the pitch.
Napoli are horrible in the UCL.
Right, but apparently
that is true. They are.
Yeah, I agree.
they're bad, but they're playing Chelsea, and Chelsea is now top 2 of in the Premier League, and they didn't beat Arsenal. We didn't beat Arsenal. We're not very prolific. We're also struggling.
Man United won against Arsenal.
Huh?
Man United, they won 3-2.
Right. But the way they played, they should have probably won that game, Arsenal. But
or maybe a draw at least.
I think a draw would probably been the more realistic outcome.
Yeah, draw. That's crazy.
Jokeris sucks, by the way.
Anyway, to kind of finish up on the Napoli game, I think we draw that game. I think maybe if I want to push, it will probably be a 2-1. Maybe the lap scores. He probably scores these kind of games. Less pressure, less physicality. Or maybe João Pedro scores. Maybe Neto gets a goal or Garnacho. It could be maybe a goal from Reece James. Anything can happen. But to be safe, my prediction is gonna say it will be a draw. We'll probably draw that game. But if you ask, I'm gonna kind of drag Coach Coachella again, and if you ask Coachella, he's gonna say, "Oh, smash them 4-0 or whatever."
He loves the word smash.
Toxic positivity.
Yeah. And mop the carpet floor with them. Anyways, let's not go off topic here. So let's just
let me tell you.
That is on topic. We're off topic. That's on topic.
Yeah, let's go on.
Coachella is on topic.
Yep, 100%. Ty. My score prediction is 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay.
Who's scoring for you?
The lap and probably Reece James.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can't shoot. Unfortunately, nobody can shoot.
Because our wingers cannot shoot.
Yeah. The only one who can actually shoot is
Estevao.
Estevao, and Garnacho also shoots. Garnacho, he likes to shoot
Yeah,
a
but
lot.
he shoots, but he doesn't like finish.
He's not a good finisher. He doesn't.
Exactly.
He doesn't have good, but he shoots. He has an eye for goal. I like that determination of him. He's always
Goethe doesn't
attacking.
have that though.
Neto doesn't have that vision. Have you seen Neto? He was always going. He's doing the. He's doing
He runs with his eyes closed and then crosses.
crosses. Yeah, kind of like Mudryk. He gives me Mudryk vibes.
Yeah.
All right. We're going off topic again, man. We're going off topic again.
Sorry, this is it,
Chill
man.
topic.
Yeah, we're going
All
off
right, no
topic.
more.
No more.
Yeah, because this this reminds me like a phone call. We're going back and forth. We can continue the conversation backstage, but we're talking over each other now. So I think so it's not really very well. But yeah, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to those who joined as well. I see Miss Molina was here. Blue Line
Miss
Chelsea,
Molina.
Jordan, a true Cupite Reds. Bobby was of course on the panel. He had to leave because his battery died. I don't think there's
Bobby.
anybody else. And of course, my boss who is on the panel now. My T was as well. Owen Hart. Love the name Owen Hart, man. Reminds me of wrestling. But thank you very much. I will see what happens in the week. I don't think I'm gonna get to see the Napoli game because I'm gonna probably have classes during that time. But
Good luck with the classes, Ty.
Yeah. All right. So Blue Line Choice says 3-1. So I think this is the last comment for the day. What you were saying about classes?
I just want to kind of mention something to Blue Line. Sorry to cut in. I'll be more positive, Blue Line, but as long as we're winning, I'll be positive. Yeah, okay. That's
All
it.
right. You hear that, Blue Line Chelsea from the man himself. He says he'll be positive going forward as long as we're winning. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah.
Peace.
All right, man. Bye.
Thank you. Yep.